Chapter 37. Her lips were very easy to kiss. They were soft, and warm, with the unique fragrance of her body. He couldn't help but want to go deeper. He licked her lips, and the strong taste of the sun made her a little dizzy. Baya felt that she couldn't breathe, and the oxygen seemed to be sucked away little by little. Unconsciously, she opened her mouth. Baya felt flustered and couldn't think. She wanted to push him away, but she felt that her limbs were weak. Baya held his arm. No. Xiaoya, I will take responsibility. Gu Lingqing said in a low voice, looking into her eyes sincerely. Baya crawled out from under him and didn't dare to look at him. She lowered her head and said, I will come to see you at noon. Baya almost ran away. She felt that she was about to say yes to him. But she didn't divorce, so it was wrong. She returned to the office in a daze. Lu Shuang was already waiting for her in her office. Why are you so late? My friend had a car accident, so I went to see him. Baya sat down in front of the desk. Lu Shuang smiled, sat down at Baya's desk, and said proudly, Girl, I have good news for you. Baya looked at Lu Shuang's expression, and an idea flashed in her mind. You found the evidence of Su Jiran having an affair? Sort of, but I still have to wait for a few days, hee. Lu Shuang said ambiguously. Why do you have to wait for a few days? Baya was puzzled. Lu Shuang smiled carelessly. That girl was said to be Su Jiran's former assistant. She had the phone recording of Su Jiran having an affair, and she asked for 200,000 yuan. If she told Baya, Baya would definitely not agree to buy it at such a price. Anyway, her old man had 200,000 yuan. But she had to compromise on some things. For example, a blind date. You have to help me with one thing. Lu Shuang said with a smile. What is it? I have a blind date on Saturday. Come with me. If you come with me, your business will be settled. Okay, if you want me to accompany you, I will accompany you even if there are no conditions. She only had one friend, Lu Shuang, and she treasured him very much. Then I'll go back to my office. Lu Shuang stood up. Baya suddenly thought of something. When you're free, help me find a house. I want to move out. You should have moved a long time ago. Lu Shuang patted his chest. I'll look for a house. Thank you. Baya watched Lu Shuang leave gratefully. Her life was not empty, at least there was friendship. At noon, she hesitated whether she should visit Gu Lingqing. She could feel that Gu Lingqing had some thoughts about her. If she went, would it mean that she acquiesced to his thoughts? But if he didn't go, it would seem unreasonable. After all, he was injured saving her. He was her savior. Baya was in a dilemma. Her phone rang. When she saw it was Gu Lingqing, her heart raced. She took a deep breath and answered the call. When are you coming? Gu Lingqing asked in a deep voice. Well, I have something to do at noon, Baya said guiltily. Your work permit is with me. If you don't come to my place, I'll go to your place, Gu Lingqing said domineeringly. Then, I'll come over after I get my lunch, Baya said softly. Okay. Gu Lingqing hung up the phone and looked at Lieutenant Colonel Shang. You don't have to stay here. How can we do that? If something happens to you, we can't afford it, Lieutenant Colonel Shang said worriedly. You're too conspicuous here. Besides, I'm fine. If I ask you to leave, then leave. Don't talk so much nonsense, Gu Lingqing said impatiently. Lieutenant Colonel Shang couldn't do anything about the chief, so he could only listen to him. Baya stood at the door of Gu Lingqing's ward. She took a deep breath and knocked on the door. The door was opened. She was surprised that it was Gu Lingqing who came to open her door in person. Was he feeling better? Before she said anything, he pulled her in, closed the door, and kissed her lips passionately. Baiya's mind went blank. She opened her eyes wide and couldn't react for a moment. His kiss became deeper and deeper. His red tongue entered her mouth and messed up her breath. She knew it was wrong. She came back to herself and pushed him away desperately. Gu Lingqing let go of her lips. His chest was pressed against hers, and his strong breath surrounded her. Stay with me. I'm not asking for your opinion. This is an order, he said in a deep voice. His deep eyes were bottomless. We can't do this, Baiya said rationally. Why not? Su Jiran doesn't like you. Your marriage with him exists in name only. If you continue to be with him, it will only be hell, Gu Lingqing said with certainty. But I'm still married to him now. I can't get out of it with any reason. Baiya's eyes turned red. I'm only asking you, do you like me? Gu Lingqing asked directly. Baiya's mind was in a mess. One word from her could very well be their doom. Can't we be friends? Baiya was annoyed. In my opinion, there can't be pure friendship between a man and a woman. If you like me, no matter what I face, I will go on without hesitation. If you don't like me. Gu Lingqing paused and looked at her with burning eyes. Baiya clenched her fists. If I don't like you, what will you do? He didn't answer. There was a glint in his eyes and he asked, will you like me? Who wouldn't like a handsome man like you? Your looks, background, and status are enough to make a woman obsessed with you. But if this kind of liking is just a momentary impulse, I don't think it will last long, Baiya said rationally. Gu Lingqing squinted his eyes and shot out a sharp gaze. Couldn't she compromise? Couldn't she give in? What was wrong with being with Gu Lingqing? The woman he liked would definitely be spoiled to death. How do you know it won't last long if you haven't tried? Gu Lingqing said domineeringly. It's a mistake from the beginning. How can it last long? Baiya said pessimistically. He hated that she was like a tortoise, hiding in her shell. He lifted her chin and took her lips in a punishing kiss. It was very ferocious. He sucked on her lips like a storm. When she breathed, all she breathed in was his strong manly scent. It almost filled her lungs and her limbs were weak. She couldn't even push him away. He kissed her until he was panting and finally let go of her. He looked at her swollen lips and curled up the corners of his lips. Didn't you ask what I would do if you don't like me? Baiya looked at his crazily rolling eyes and had a bad feeling. Chapter 38. Baiya was frightened by him. The word rape was the nightmare of her life. She thought of that night, that man, that was the nightmare of her life and the lingering fear. Her happiness, her love, was over. Baiya was trembling with fear. Then I will hate you. Gu Lingqing saw the real fear in her eyes. His heart felt as if it was being twisted by a hand, and the pain came unexpectedly. She was actually so afraid of him. It seemed that it was meaningless for him to force it. He turned around dispiritedly, opened the drawer, picked up her work permit, put it on the bedside table, and said in a low voice, Go, don't come here again. I am a wolf, next time, I can't guarantee that I will let you go like I did yesterday. Baiya's heart was very sour. Why was her relationship with Gu Lingqing getting worse and worse? Her mind was blank. She put the food on the bedside table, took out her work permit, and hung it around her neck. Take your food away, I don't want to eat it, Gu Lingqing said coldly. I got this food from the canteen, I didn't cook it myself. If you go to the canteen to get food, you will also get this, Baiya explained with red eyes. You brought it. I don't want to eat it. Take it away, or do you want me to throw it away myself? Gu Lingqing said coldly. Bai Ye had no choice. She went forward, took the lunchbox, and said indifferently, "Pay attention to your rest." She turned around and walked towards the door. Gu Lingqing sneered, her eyes were as red as blood. She really didn't feel nostalgic at all, and left so quickly. She clenched her fists tightly. Bai Ye opened the door, saw Su Shaoling walk to the door, and subconsciously, she closed the door guiltily. "Well, Su Shaoling is coming, I will hide first," Bai Ye said and went into the bathroom. She was annoyed when she went in. Why did she want to hide? She didn't do anything wrong. Su Shaoling came in with lilies and a fruit basket in her hands. Today, she was still dressed up beautifully. Her makeup was exquisite, her earrings were bright, and she wore a pink miniskirt. Her chest was pulled very low, and from time to time, half of her snow-white skin was exposed, but it was still very sexy. She put the flowers in the vase, put the fruit basket on the table, and smiled. "If I didn't see it with my own eyes, would have thought you were avoiding the banquet tonight." Gu Lingqing didn't say anything, he looked at the bathroom and frowned slightly. Su Shaoling was used to his alienation. Since he did that to every woman, she didn't mind. She sat down on the chair beside him. "Grandma said that since we can't announce the date of the wedding banquet, we'll go to her place for dinner another day and decide on the wedding date." Gu Lingqing's face was cold, and his pitch-black eyes were vast and boundless. "If you don't answer, I'll take it as you agree," Su Shaoling said to herself. Bai Ye leaned against the wall, feeling a little uncomfortable. He was about to get married, and they were like passers-by in a hurry. No matter how unwilling they were, this chapter would be over. So, she made the right decision. It was the wisest thing for her to miss Gu Lingqing. She opened the door and looked at them. She met Gu Lingqing's eyes. Her heart trembled and she closed the door again. Gu Lingqing was unhappy. Was he a poisonous snake or a beast? She was afraid to avoid him. He gritted his teeth and looked at Su Shaoling. The suppressed anger was spreading. "Okay, let's get married." Su Shaoling was happy and threw herself at Gu Lingqing passionately. The strong perfume filled the whole room, and the fragrance was pleasant. She wanted to kiss Gu Lingqing's lips. Gu Lingqing hesitated for a moment, avoided it, and stood up. Su Shaoling hugged Gu Lingqing, afraid that he would regret it. "Lingqing, do you want me?" Gu Lingqing looked at the door of the washroom. There was no movement at all. That woman treated him as if he didn't exist. He was nothing in that woman's heart. He felt depressed and uncomfortable. When he was in a trance, Su Shaoling had already taken off her clothes. "Anyway, we are going to get married. If you want me today, I will definitely serve you well," Su Shaoling said anxiously. He couldn't hide his disgust. He was so angry at Bai Ye that he lost his mind. Now that he thought about it, he really didn't like this woman at all. "Su Shaoling, I was just joking." Su Shaoling was stunned, and the smile on her face was a little awkward. Gu Lingqing frowned. He was very annoyed and wanted to refuse. He saw Bai Ye come out of the washroom and tiptoed towards the door. She really knew how to behave. "Lingqing, I will definitely serve you well. I will be a good mother and a good wife." Su Shaoling bit her lips and said. Bai Ye listened, but the discomfort in her heart spread all over her body. She wanted to leave as soon as possible. The air here made her feel suffocated. She opened the door with a click. Su Shaoling heard the sound and was about to turn around. Gu Lingqing pinched her chin and stared at her mouth with his deep eyes. His black lotus-like eyes were dark and surging. Su Shaoling felt that she was deeply trapped in it and couldn't get out. It was the first time she looked at him so closely. She could see every pore on his face. He was a perfect man who was impeccable in all aspects. Bai Ye opened the door. Lieutenant Colonel Shang and an old woman were at the door. She was upset and couldn't get out, so she went back to the washroom. Gu Lingqing frowned and looked at Bai Ye's back helplessly. Lingqing. Su Shaoling called in a sweet voice. I like a woman with a smaller mouth. Yours doesn't seem suitable, he said coldly and walked towards the washroom. Grandma came in accompanied by Lieutenant Colonel Shang and saw Su Shaoling taking off her clothes. Oh, I'm sorry. You can continue. Grandma pulled Lieutenant Colonel Shang out. Su Shaoling also looked embarrassed and put on the clothes she took off. Gu Lingqing went into the washroom, closed the door and locked it. Why don't you go out? He asked in a low voice. Someone is at the door. I can't go out. Bai Ye explained. Bai Ye, why are you feeling guilty? Gu Lingqing questioned and examined her. It was like an X-ray, so she had nowhere to hide. I'm not feeling guilty. Bai Ye lowered her head. His question made her breathless. Really? A fierce look flashed in Gu Lingqing's eyes. He grabbed her waist, pulled her into his arms, and kissed her lips. Bai Ye leaned back against the wall. Chapter 39. Bai Ye realized what he wanted to do and her legs trembled. He was so strong that she couldn't stop him at all. She pushed his shoulders. Bai Ye snorted. She had never been touched like this before. It was as if there were fireworks going off in her head. It was a very strange feeling, but it also seemed to be bewitching. His breathing became heavy and there was a layer of love in his eyes. He looked at her misty eyes and said, You have what you want, right? You shouldn't do this. Bai Ye was embarrassed and annoyed. What should I do? I don't want to let you go, he asked. Bai Ye was so tense that she didn't dare to move. He could feel the strength of her muscles, and waves of excitement surged in his heart. Bai Ye let out a moan but didn't dare to be too loud. Su Shaoling was still outside the door. She wanted to struggle but she was no match for him. She could only hit him and push him to prevent him from going further. Gu Lingqing's expression was locked and he said gently, You want it too, right? Let me go, Bai Ye requested. She had never been touched by a man other than that time when she was raped. She blushed and bit her lower lip. Relax, I won't hurt you, I promise, Gu Lingqing said sincerely. How was he not hurting her? Bai Ye looked at him with red eyes. He didn't want to scare her, so he kissed Bai Ye's lips. I just want you to like me and be with me. If you don't try, how will you know if we can be together forever? I'll just wait for you to get divorced. His voice was very gentle and his breath was on her face. Knock, knock, knock. There was a knock on the door. Lingqing, what are you doing? Bai Ye was so scared that she didn't dare to move. Her back was stiff. But he didn't seem to hear it at all and looked straight at her face. He had always been pure and had sex with her because of the drug. After that, he didn't have any urges because he had a taste of a woman. Until he met her. He knew what he had been waiting for. He didn't deny his feelings towards her. He just wanted her. He unzipped his pants. Bai Ye was really scared, so she opened the door when he let go. Su Shaoling was shocked to see Bai Ye in the washroom. Bai Ye had no time to care about her shock. She opened the door and ran away. Gu Lingqing was furious and slammed the door. What was so bad about him that she was so afraid of him? Bai Ye ran out of the brain department. She was still in a state of shock. She was actually like Gu Lingqing, like that, almost like that, like that, like that. She was probably crazy. Bai Ye pushed open the door to her office. Su Jiran was sitting on her chair. When he saw her coming in, he twisted out the burning cigarette butt. Did you do it with Gu Lingqing yesterday? Baiya looked into his cold eyes and felt a chill. Thinking of her kidnapping and drugging last night, as well as the danger this morning and Gu Lingqing's injuries, she couldn't help but feel angry. It was all because of him. What right did he have to question her? Do you care? Baiya asked with bloodshot eyes. You're my wife, I won't allow you to make me a cuckold. Su Jiran stood up. Suddenly, he felt a lot more dangerous. I've been made a cuckold by you countless times. Where do you get the cheek to control me? Baiya shouted anxiously. He walked in front of her and said coldly, Woman, don't have such a bad temper. It will only make people annoyed. Men are romantic, but women are cheap. Xing Jinyan came to me today and wanted to be my secretary. I didn't want to agree, but now it seems that she's much cuter than you. Then I wish you two have a son soon and be united forever, Baiya said indifferently. He was sick of it. He pressed down on her shoulders and slammed her against the wall. Woman, don't test my patience. If you think I'm annoying, then get a divorce, he roared. Do you want a man that much? Su Jiran was finally angry. His anger spread and burned until his eyes were bloodshot. Baiya felt that his words were incoherent and illogical. Communicating with him would shorten her life by 10 years. It has nothing to do with you. Let go of me. Baiya struggled to break free. Su Jiran's lips curled up. Looks like it's time for me to fulfill my duties as a husband. I'll definitely satisfy you. Baiya's eyes widened in panic, but she was even more angry. Su Jiran, get out. Get out where? You'll be begging me to come in later. He hugged her shoulders and pressed her against the desk. Her documents and books were scattered all over the floor. She saw danger in his eyes and pushed him away anxiously. Compared to Gu Lingqing, she would rather be Gu Lingqing than the disgusting Su Jiran. Su Jiran's breathing became chaotic. Move, you know. The more you struggle, the more excited I get. You're shameless, Baiya said through gritted teeth. He did not seem to hear her scolding and curled his lips. His hand moved up her thigh. Yo, this is love between man and beast. Lu Shuang vaguely heard the sound of Baiya's office and appeared in time. When Baiya saw Lu Shuang, she was surprised and even had the urge to cry. It was tears of joy, grievance, and all sorts of complicated emotions. Su Jiran stared at the emotions in Baiya's eyes. His gaze tightened and he was very annoyed. She really did not want him to touch her. For a moment, he was in a trance. The woman in front of him was still the Baiya who loved him deeply. Because of love, even if he betrayed her, schemed against her, and hurt her, she still married him without hesitation. It seemed that something was changing quietly. Baiya took the opportunity to walk away from him and ran to Lu Shuang. Cool girl. Lu Shuang pulled Baiya behind him and glanced at Su Jiran with his beautiful eyes. Then, he glanced at the mess on the floor and was instantly displeased. I say, Minister Su, there are many women outside if you want. There's also one waiting for you in the military. Baiya has an operation in the afternoon. Do you want her to not even have the strength to hold a knife? Su Jiran stared at Baiya and saw her coldness and resistance. There was a strange light in his eyes. I'll pick you up tonight. I think we'll have to use our wedding room tonight. Baiya frowned and watched Su Jiran walk past her. After he left, she immediately went to open the window. She did not like the smell of perfume and cigarettes on him. Chapter 40. Baiya was terrified of Su Jiran. She hadn't taken her annual leave yet. She had asked for leave, so her phone was turned off. When she reached the entrance of the hospital, two strange men blocked her way. Baya had a bad feeling. She said sternly, "What do you want? There are cameras here. You can't escape even if you kidnap me." "Madam, Minister Su said that if you come out, we will take you back." Baya didn't expect that Su Jiran would even consider that she wanted to leave early. "I'm afraid I'm not free right now. I have a gathering with my friends. I'll be back later." Baya refused and walked past the two men. The two men held Baya's hands and said coldly, "I'm sorry, madam. Minister Su said that no matter what excuse you have, we will take you to the villa." Baya was almost dragged away. She was very scared and struggled. "Let me go. Let me go. I don't want to go back. What's the difference between you and kidnapping?" Her struggle was useless. She was taken to the parking lot. She saw Lieutenant Colonel Shang get out of the car and immediately greeted him. "Lieutenant Colonel Shang, Lieutenant Colonel Shang." Lieutenant Colonel Shang looked at her in surprise. "He's a Special Forces soldier. Let me go," Baya said to the people who were dragging her in disgust. The men looked at each other and loosened their grip. Baya broke free and quickly ran towards Lieutenant Colonel Shang. "Are you here to see Lieutenant Colonel Gu?" "I'm here to bring food," Lieutenant Colonel Shang replied. Baya saw the two men staring at her fiercely. She said in panic, "Let's go up together. I'm going to see him too." She walked forward, and the two men actually followed behind her all the way. Her brows furrowed tightly. She followed Lieutenant Colonel Shang to Gu Lingqing's ward. She lowered her head and glanced at Gu Lingqing. He said that to his grandmother. She thought of the last scene and blushed. She was the one who ran away. Now she was a lamb in a tiger's mouth. Gu Lingqing glanced at Baya and pretended not to see her. "Lieutenant Colonel, here's your food," Lieutenant Colonel Shang said respectfully. He put the food on the bedside table and shook Gu Lingqing's bed. Baya didn't dare to walk forward. She stood at the door and felt restrained. "You can go now. You don't have to stay here with me," Gu Lingqing said to his grandmother. Since you are in love with that girl from the Su family, hurry up and marry her. Give me a few great-grandchildren. I don't know how long I can live," Gu Lingqing's grandmother urged. "I know what I'm doing. I'll solve my own problems," Gu Lingqing said coldly. "I've watched you solve it for a long time, but you still haven't solved it," Gu Lingqing's grandmother complained. Gu Lingqing looked at Lieutenant Colonel Shang. "Send my grandmother back." Baya became nervous and clenched her fists. It was Su Jiran outside and Gu Lingqing inside. She couldn't afford to offend either of them. Lieutenant Colonel Shang sent Gu Lingqing's grandmother out. Her grandmother glanced at Baya. She thought she was a caretaker. She didn't care and walked out of the room. Gu Lingqing stared at her. Baya didn't dare to look up. She bit her lip and clenched her fists. Gu Lingqing chuckled. "Are you going to keep quiet?" Baya was shy. She explained, "There are two men outside who want to catch me. I'm hiding here." Gu Lingqing picked up his phone and made a call. "There are two men following Baya. Go and deal with them." Baya looked at him. He helped her again. "Come here," Gu Lingqing said. Baya stood in place and did not move. She wanted to go out, but she was afraid that they hadn't finished dealing with them. "Do you want me to come over and hug you?" Gu Lingqing said. Baya's ears turned red. She walked towards his cramped body. She stood in front of the bed. Gu Lingqing looked at her and didn't say a word. He was born to be a king. He had a strong sense of oppression. "Did I scare you just now?" Gu Lingqing's tone softened. Baya nodded. "I'll be gentler next time," Gu Lingqing said, a little annoyed. Next time. There would be a next time. Baiya's heart was beating so fast that it almost jumped out of her throat. Gu Lingqing's phone rang. He picked it up. Sir, it's been solved. I sent them to the police station. They won't be released for a week. Gu Lingqing replied. Baiya heard the voice on the phone. I'm leaving now. I'll visit you another day. She almost ran away in defeat again. Gu Lingqing looked at her back helplessly. In Su Jiran's villa. He was listening to the report on the phone. A cold light flashed and he ordered, ask Miller to do something. This battle has made Gu Lingqing too idle. Yes. Su Jiran turned around and looked at Little Black who was kneeling on the ground. Minister Su, please spare my life. I was just following Sen's instructions. Little Black wailed, and the bright chain was stained with dirty blood. Su Jiran looked at Little Black coldly. Did anything happen between my woman and Gu Lingqing after they were drugged? Little Black was not stupid. He hurriedly said, no, their clothes were neat when they were rescued. Su Jiran's anger disappeared a lot. He knew that Baiya would not let others touch her. If she wanted to touch her, she would have done it long ago. Even if she was drugged, she would still keep her chastity for him. It seemed that he should really share his wealth with this woman. Minister Su, what should we do with him? Su Jiran's subordinate asked. Lock him up first. The best part is yet to come. Su Jiran raised the corner of his mouth. He pulled off his tie and called the director of obstetrics and gynecology. I'm Su Jiran. I want to give Baiya a surprise tonight. Please do me a favor. I happen to have 2 tickets to Hawaii. I'll ask someone to give them to you. Asterisk as soon as Baiya came out of the hospital, the director of obstetrics and gynecology called her. Baiya, it's an emergency. The hypertensive pregnant woman in bed 32 is about to give birth. Her husband asked you to come back to deliver the baby. Baiya was stunned. How did the director know that she was at the door? It was an emergency. She had no time to think and ran to the obstetrics and gynecology department in a hurry. When she came out of the operating room, Su Jiran stood in front of her and smiled wickedly. It seemed that he had been waiting for her for a long time. Baiya was shocked. She ignored him and forced her way over. Su Jiran grabbed her hand. Let go of me. Baiya turned around and glared at him. Su Jiran smiled and carried her up in his arms. Are you touched? I'll take you to our wedding room in person. I'm not touched. Have you had enough fun, Su Jiran? Baiya was trembling with fear. Su Jiran looked down at her and looked even more devilish. I'll have fun. If you perform well, I'll let bygones be bygones. I'll even let you have my child. From now on, your position as Mrs. Su will be as stable as a mountain. She did not want to have his child. She did not want to have anything to do with this devil. Chapter 41. She was thrown into the car by Su Jiran. He locked the door. His subordinate drove. Boss Su, we're being followed. What should we do? Su Jiran's subordinate looked at the rearview mirror and suddenly said. Su Jiran turned around and saw an Audi following behind them. A man lowered the brim of his hat and held a mobile phone in his hand, following them closely. Su Jiran smiled cynically. It's going to be rush hour soon. Play with him. Yes. Baiya saw them circling around the city center and had a bad feeling in her heart. What was Su Jiran trying to do? Gu Lingqing listened to the report from the other end of the phone and said in a deep voice, did she leave voluntarily or unwillingly? She was dragged into the car by force. Gu Lingqing's soldier reported the truth. A sharp light flashed across Gu Lingqing's eyes. Which road are you on now? If necessary, invite him to the police station. It's very strange. Chief, I seem to have been exposed. His car has been circling around the city center. I understand. You continue to follow. Gu Lingqing hung up the phone and turned to face Lieutenant Colonel Shang. He ordered seriously, call the doctor to remove my cast. But that was a matter between a husband and wife. Was the chief too concerned? But what? Gu Lingqing replied in one sentence. Lieutenant Colonel Shang didn't dare to say anything. Immediately informed the director of the traffic police department. Send the real-time video of the city center to my phone. Gu Lingqing ordered again. His eyes were cold and irresistible. Lieutenant Colonel Shang swallowed his saliva without any ambition. He put his feet together, puffed out his chest and sucked in his stomach, and saluted. Yes, Chief. 5:00. The rush hour began. There were more and more passers-by. In just 5 minutes, the traffic was heavy. Su Jiran's eyes shone with brilliance. He ordered arrogantly, let's start. Yes. Baiya saw the car speeding up. The car drifted on the road. Ah! Baiya staggered in the car and screamed. Su Jiran cast a sidelong glance at her, admiring her unbearable pain as if it was a punishment. The smile in his eyes deepened. He never knew that his wife could be so cute even when she was embarrassed. Baiya glared at him and grabbed the handle above the door at the right time to stabilize her body. She saw a woman riding an electric scooter in front of her also running a red light. Su Jiran's car did not slow down at all. Baiya's heart skipped a beat. She shouted anxiously, stop the car. Stop the car. It's going to crash. Not only did the number of his subordinates not decrease, but they also charged forward. The woman on the electric scooter was frightened and drove the scooter randomly. Su Jiran's car passed by the woman. Baiya turned around. The woman ran straight into a car behind her. She was sent flying. Su Jiran had no regard for human life. She never knew that he could be so bad. Why did she marry such a cruel and bloodthirsty man? She used to love him so much. Now, she finally knew how stupid she was. Su Jiran. She's dead. Baiya said anxiously. Su Jiran smiled evilly. I didn't hit her. She ran the red light herself. Her driving skills are not good. If you hadn't been driving so fast, would this have happened? Baiya was not calm and knocked him on the head. She had used up all her strength. He looked at her evilly as if it did not matter. Baiya, congratulations. You've successfully aroused my interest. Aren't you too arrogant? Do you think that I'm arousing your interest? Baiya glared and roared. I'm interested in you. Isn't that what you've been waiting for? I'll allow you to be unreasonable for a while, but I won't allow you to be unreasonable for a long time. Su Jiran's eyes were filled with danger. Don't you understand? Baiya's chest was heaving up and down. She had completely lost her rationality. Not everyone will wait for you in the same place after being hurt, and not everyone will continue to be a bitch. In the future, we will go our separate ways. Please don't interfere with my freedom anymore. Let me out of the car. Su Jiran narrowed his eyes and observed her angry face. He saw determination in Baiya's eyes. It was not the scheming he had always thought. This caused a flash of panic in his heart. You're my wife. Why can't I interfere? Su Jiran asked coldly. Wife? Su Jiran, when you cheated on me, did you ever think that you had a wife? When you got someone pregnant, did you ever think that you had a wife? When you sent me to the gates of hell in exchange for your girlfriend's safety, did you ever think that I was your wife? Baiya screamed hysterically. Su Jiran grabbed her chin. But you're still Mrs. Su, aren't you? Baiya looked into Su Jiran's eyes coldly. I don't care anymore. Su Jiran's eyes were cold. He tightened his grip on Baiya's chin. Baiya, say it again. There are many women in this world who want to marry me, Su Jiran. If you get divorced, don't expect me, Su Jiran, to look at you again. Think carefully before you answer. He felt strangely uncomfortable. His breathing became heavier and heavier. He was inexplicably nervous about her answer. Baiya felt that his straight man cancer had reached the terminal stage. If we get divorced and die of old age, there's no need to see each other anymore, Baiya said firmly. As soon as she finished speaking, his thick breath, with the smell of tobacco, assaulted her. He kissed her lips. When his red lips touched hers, Su Jiran felt an electric current flowing from his lips to his heart. Her lips were very soft, like cotton candy. With her fragrance, he sucked hard, as if he was punishing her. Baiya felt the sting on her lips come and go. Her eyes were clear. She clenched her fists. No matter how painful it was, she would not cry out. She knew clearly that Su Jiran did not know how to be gentle with a woman. Even if she was in pain, he would not let go. She could only grit her teeth and not let him go. Su Jiran's breath became more and more rapid. Baiya, let me tell you, I won't get divorced before I get tired of you, Su Jiran said firmly. His eyes were dyed red. I will only disgust you. Baiya squeezed these words out of her teeth. A sharp glint flashed in his eyes. It was a dangerous glint. Chapter 42. Lieutenant Colonel Shang plucked up his courage. Sir, it's not good for you to be alone, right? Gu Lingqing's sharp gaze swept over him like an ice blade. What's not good about it? Go back and prepare. Let Zhang Lang go to the island for a drill tomorrow. Lieutenant Colonel Shang didn't dare to say anything else. Yes. Although Baiya's injuries weren't serious, they were all abrasions and they were on her back. She couldn't wash and disinfect them herself. The nurses cleaned them up for her before sending them back. Baiya laid on the bed. She was so hungry that her chest was almost touching her back. She didn't eat anything in the afternoon because she felt awkward. The smell of food hit her nose and she became even hungrier. Gu Lingqing pushed the door open and the nurses came in with a bowl of mullet soup, sweet and sour pork ribs and stir-fried vegetables with mushrooms. Are you hungry? Gu Lingqing asked gently. Baiya felt a subtle sweetness in her heart and she nodded. She would remember. Maybe it was because her back was scarring. It hurt when she moved. If you don't want the wound to split open, just lie down and don't move, Gu Lingqing said. She looked at Gu Lingqing. His gaze softened. I'll feed you. In the morning, he was still the one lying on the bed. Now, he was the one. Are your head and hand okay? Baiya asked with concern. I put them up to avoid the banquet tonight. Of course I'm fine, Gu Lingqing explained. He patiently removed the bones from the fish, put it into a spoon and passed it to her. The doctor said that this is good for scars. She felt a lot more at ease when he was fine. Baiya ate the fish that he passed to her and her heart throbbed. Gu Lingqing, do you have any wishes? Baiya asked. She wanted to do her best to help him achieve it. Don't you know my wish? Gu Lingqing looked at her with a burning gaze. Baiya remembered what he wanted. He didn't expect that his wish was for herself. Baiya looked down. She was sick and he didn't want to make things difficult for her. What about you? She had many wishes. She wanted to be an outstanding doctor. She wanted to be with the man she loved and be together forever. She wanted to cook for the man she loved and watch the stars and the moon with him. She wanted her mother to get better soon. She wanted the happiness of the people she cared about. She wanted the happiness of the people she cared about. Go to Provence. I took my mother to travel there. It's a place she has always wanted to see, Baya said in a low mood. That's easy. If the money is not enough, I'll pay for it. Gu Lingqing said generously. Baya shook her head. My mother is mentally ill. She will hurt people when it gets serious. She can't be bailed out. Gu Lingqing furrowed his brows and didn't speak again. He concentrated on helping her remove the fish bones. Baya looked at his handsome face. When he was focused, he was like a perfect work of art in the hands of a sculptor, especially his eyes, which were like the brightest stars in the sky. Baya looked at his handsome face. When he was focused, he was like a perfect work of art in the hands of a sculptor. His eyes were like the brightest stars in the sky. Yeah. Baya did not deny it. Compared to Sujiran. Gu Lingqing asked with raised brows. Compared to Sujiran. Gu Lingqing raised his eyebrows. He was born with elegance and an unruly aura. He had an aura that could make people go crazy. He was the type that could make thousands of girls scream when he appeared. There's no comparison. Then which do you like better? Gu Lingqing wanted to know why. Baya felt that this sentence was a trap. If she said that she liked him, it would be like a confession. But she really didn't like Su Jiran anymore. I'm not a little girl anymore. I've passed the age of dreaming. I don't care about a man's appearance, Baya said ambiguously. Then what do you care about? Gu Lingqing didn't want to let her go. My heart. Baya simply said one word. This word was all-encompassing. She looked into Gu Lingqing's deep eyes. They looked at each other as if something was colliding in the air, creating layers of sparks. Gu Lingqing slowly moved closer to her. Baya's breathing became heavier and heavier. She had the urge to kiss him. I want to eat pork ribs, Baya said, breaking the atmosphere. Gu Lingqing didn't move closer. He cleared his throat and picked up a piece of pork ribs for her. He only started eating after she was done. Baya lay on the bed and looked at him. She felt that he was quite good at taking care of people. If you look at me again, I won't be able to control myself, Gu Lingqing said hoarsely. Baya blushed. She turned her face to the other side, with the back of her head facing him. Gu Lingqing couldn't help but twitch the corner of his mouth. If she wasn't injured, he might not be as easy to talk to as he was now. After eating, Gu Lingqing lay on his bed. He didn't turn off the lights. Baya was quiet. She didn't look at him, but she could feel his presence. Gradually, she closed her eyes. In the middle of the night, she had too much water and needed to go to the toilet. She crept up quietly. Gu Lingqing was alert. He turned on the lights and held her. He asked worriedly, "What's wrong?" Baya blushed. "I need to go to the toilet." Gu Lingqing couldn't help but carry her and walk to the toilet. "It's not that serious. It's just a scratch." "I feel much better now," Baya said awkwardly. "If you don't want your wound to split open and lie in bed for a few more days, shut up," Gu Lingqing said domineeringly. After he carried her to the toilet, he put her down gently, turned around, walked out of the toilet and closed the door. Xiu Xiu could also make sounds. Baya could feel her face burning. After much difficulty, she opened the door and came out. Gu Lingqing picked her up again and put her back on the bed without giving her a chance to speak. She closed her eyes, but she didn't sleep. Gu Lingqing lay down again and turned off the lights. He didn't say anything. Baiya looked at his blurry shadow in the dark. In the 3 years of marriage, Su Jiran had never been in the same room with her like this. She spent days and nights alone in the empty room. Guarding, she felt that she was no longer a woman, and she had also lost confidence. "Thank you, Gu Lingqing," Baiya said sincerely. She was really grateful to him. Not only did he warm her in life, but he also warmed her heart. What did she do to deserve his love? Gradually, she fell asleep. When she woke up, Gu Lingqing was no longer there. Lu Shuang pushed the door open and saw Baiya lying on the bed. He looked worried. "What happened to you? How did you get hurt like this? Why are you here?" Baiya was surprised. Lu Shuang smiled ambiguously. "Your man called me and told me that you're staying in this room and asked me to take care of you. What happened to you? Is it serious?" "I had a small car accident. It's not serious. I've already had a checkup. It's just some abrasions. I'll be fine soon. Maybe I'll be discharged in the afternoon. Don't worry." Baiya turned around to show that she was really fine. "It's good that you're fine. Do you know what this is?" Lu Shuang took out a recording pen from his bag. Chapter 43. Lieutenant Colonel Shang plucked up his courage. "Sir, it's not good for you to be alone, right?" Gu Lingqing's sharp gaze swept over him like an ice blade. "What's not good about it? Go back and prepare. Let Zhang Lang go to the island for a drill tomorrow." Lieutenant Colonel Shang didn't dare to say anything else. "Yes." Although Baiya's injuries weren't serious, they were all abrasions and they were on her back. She couldn't wash and disinfect them herself. The nurses cleaned them up for her before sending them back. Baiya laid on the bed. She was so hungry that her chest was almost touching her back. She didn't eat anything in the afternoon because she felt awkward. The smell of food hit her nose and she became even hungrier. Gu Lingqing pushed the door open and the nurses came in with a bowl of mullet soup, sweet and sour pork ribs and stir-fried vegetables with mushrooms. "Are you hungry?" Gu Lingqing asked gently. Baiya felt a subtle sweetness in her heart and she nodded. She would remember. Maybe it was because her back was scarring. It hurt when she moved. "If you don't want the wound to split open, just lie down and don't move," Gu Lingqing said. She looked at Gu Lingqing. His gaze softened. "I'll feed you." In the morning, he was still the one lying on the bed. Now, he was the one. "Are your head and hand okay?" Baiya asked with concern. "I put them up to avoid the banquet tonight." "Of course, they're fine," Gu Lingqing explained. He patiently removed the bones from the fish, put it into a spoon and passed it to her. "The doctor said that this is good for scars." She felt a lot more at ease when he was fine. Baiya ate the fish that he passed to her and her heart throbbed. "Gu Lingqing, do you have any wishes?" Baiya asked. She wanted to do her best to help him achieve it. "Don't you know my wish?" Gu Lingqing looked at her with a burning gaze. Baiya remembered what he wanted. He didn't expect that his wish was for herself. Baiya looked down. She was sick, so he didn't want to make things difficult for her. "What about you? What's your wish?" She had many wishes. She wanted to be an outstanding doctor. "I hope to get the person of my heart, to grow old together." She wanted to cook for the man she loved for the rest of her life and accompany him to watch the stars and the moon in the sky. "I want my mother to get better soon." She wanted everyone she cared about to be happy. She seemed to be too greedy. "Go to Provence. I brought my mother there for a trip. It's a place she has always wanted to visit," Baiya said in a low mood. "That's easy." If you don't have enough money, I'll pay for it. Gu Lingqing said generously. Bai Yi shook her head. My mother has a mental illness. When it gets serious, she will hurt people. She can't be bailed out. Gu Lingqing frowned and didn't say anything else. She concentrated on picking out the fish bones. Bai Yi looked at his handsome face. When he was focused, he was like a perfect piece of art in the hands of a sculptor. Especially his eyes, they were like the brightest stars in the sky. Do I look good? Gu Lingqing glanced at her and passed the fish soup to her. Yes. Bai Yi didn't deny it. Compared to Su Jiran. Gu Lingqing raised his eyebrows and asked. It was undeniable that Su Jiran's face was exquisite. He was born with elegance, with an unruly aura. He had an aura that could make people go crazy. He was the type that could make thousands of girls scream when he appeared. There's no comparison. Then which do you like more? Gu Lingqing insisted on knowing the reason. Bai Yi felt that this sentence was a trap. If she said that she liked him, it would be like a confession. However, she really didn't like Su Jiran anymore. I'm not a little girl anymore. I've long passed the age of dreaming. I don't care about a man's appearance. Bai Yi said ambiguously. Then what do you care about? Gu Lingqing didn't plan to let her go. My heart. Bai Yi simply said one word. This word was all-encompassing. She looked into Gu Lingqing's deep eyes. Their eyes looked at each other as if something was colliding in the air, causing layers of sparks. Gu Lingqing slowly moved closer to her. Bai Yi's breathing became heavier and heavier. She had an urge that he wanted to kiss her. Well, I want to eat pork ribs. Bai Yi said and broke the atmosphere. Yes. Gu Lingqing didn't move closer. He cleared his throat and picked up a piece of pork ribs for her. He only started eating after she was done. Bai Yi lay on the bed and looked at him. She felt that he was quite good at taking care of people. If you look at me again, I won't be able to control myself, Gu Lingqing said in a hoarse voice. Bai Yi blushed. She turned her face to the other side and looked at him with the back of her head. Gu Lingqing couldn't help but twitch the corner of his mouth. If she wasn't injured, he might not be as easy to talk to as he was now. After eating, Gu Lingqing lay on his bed. He didn't turn off the lights. Bai Yi was quiet. She didn't look at him but she could feel his presence. Gradually, she closed her eyes. In the middle of the night, she needed to go to the toilet. She crept up to her feet. Gu Lingqing was alert. He turned on the lights and held her. He asked worriedly, "What's wrong?" Bai Yi blushed. "I need to go to the toilet." Gu Lingqing couldn't help but carry her and walk to the toilet. "It's not that serious. It's just a scratch." "I feel much better now," Bai Yi said awkwardly. "If you don't want your wound to split open and lie in bed for a few more days, shut up," Gu Lingqing said domineeringly. After he carried her to the toilet, he put her down gently, turned around, walked out of the toilet and closed the door. Xiu Xiu could also make sounds. Bai Yi could feel her face burning. After much difficulty, she opened the door and came out. Gu Lingqing picked her up again and put her back on the bed without giving her a chance to speak. She closed her eyes but didn't fall asleep. Gu Lingqing lay down again and turned off the lights. He didn't say anything. Bai Yi looked at his blurry shadow in the dark. In the 3 years of marriage, Su Jiran had never been in the same room with her like this. She spent days and nights alone in the empty room. Guarding, she felt that she was no longer a woman, and she had also lost confidence. "Thank you, Gu Lingqing," Bai Yi said sincerely. She was really grateful to him. Not only did he warm her in life, but also in her heart. What did she do to deserve his love? Gradually, she fell asleep. When she woke up, Gu Lingqing was no longer there. Lu Shuang pushed the door open and saw Bai Yi lying on the bed. He looked worried. What happened to you? How did you get hurt like this? Why are you here? Bai Yi was surprised. Lu Shuang smiled ambiguously. Your man called me and told me that you're staying in this room and asked me to take care of you. What happened to you? Is it serious? I had a small car accident. It's not serious. I've already had a checkup. It's just some abrasions. I'll be fine soon. Maybe I'll be discharged in the afternoon. Don't worry. Bai Yi turned around to show that she was really fine. It's good that you're fine. Do you know what this is? Lu Shuang took out a recording pen from his bag. Chapter 44. Lu Shuang pressed the switch. Brother Jiran, are you coming? I want it so much. Little Vixen, I can't feed you enough. Where do you want it? Here. Brother Jiran is so mean. Don't do this. Bai Yi lowered her eyes. This was the recording she had heard the other day. Hearing it again, her heart didn't waver. Lu Shuang turned off the recording. How is it? Is it fun? There's enough evidence of Su Jiran cheating, the court will definitely divorce you. I hope so. Lu Shuang, help me pass these to the lawyer. I want to end this quickly, Bai Yi said resolutely. Don't worry, I'll get it done this afternoon. Outside the door. Su Jiran stood there coldly with a bouquet of roses in his hand, his bloodshot eyes glinting maliciously. Did she want a divorce that badly? She had even found the evidence. How could he let her get what she wanted? He wouldn't let her go until he was tired of her. Strangely, there was a strange sourness in his heart that made him feel uncomfortable. He threw the flowers into the bin and walked to the dark corner of the corridor to make a call. A moment later, Lu Shuang picked up the phone. After answering, she said to Bai Yi helplessly, the chief of obstetrics and gynecology said there's an emergency surgery, and there's a lack of manpower now. She asked me to go back. I'll come back to accompany you later. Okay, go, I'm fine. Lu Shuang turned and left in a hurry. Bai Yi picked up a Russian book that Gu Lingqing had placed on the bedside table and flipped through it casually. The book was filled with notes. His handwriting was as smooth as flowing water, penetrating the back of the paper. Just like his looks, he was good-looking. There was a shadow in front of her. Bai Yi had a bad feeling and looked up. She saw Su Jiran and was subconsciously afraid. She asked in a shrill voice, "What are you doing here?" Su Jiran's lips curled up devilishly. "You're my wife, of course I have to come." He snatched the book from her hands, his gaze sharp. "Give it back to me." Bai Yi quickly tried to snatch it back. He was too tall, she couldn't reach him at all. Instead, she almost tore her wound open. "Su Jiran, this doesn't belong to me." "I want to return it," said Bai Yi sternly. He smiled, but his eyes were cold. "I know. You must be Gu Lingqing." He strode to the window, opened it, and threw the book out of the window. "What are you doing?" Bai Yi ran to the window barefoot. When she saw the book fall into the pond, she was instantly enraged. "That's not yours. Aren't you being too overbearing? What about you? Do you belong to me?" Su Jiran asked. "Am I a thing in your eyes? So you can destroy them without mercy?" Bai Yi was so angry that she had lost her mind. Su Jiran stared at her cold eyes, and there was an unprecedented panic, as if she was passing away bit by bit, completely leaving his life. He didn't want her to leave his life. Su Jiran's tone softened a little. I take back what I said about making you wish you were dead. From today onwards, I will try to love you. From today onwards. It was already too late. Her mind was filled with his cruelty and bloodthirst. Baiyu glared at him and walked quickly to the door. Su Jiran furrowed his brows. She wouldn't pick up that man's things again, would she? However, he was furious, so he followed her out. Baiyu walked to the edge of the pond and picked up the book without hesitation. Su Jiran stared at her gloomily. She immediately hid the book behind her, as if she was protecting it with her life. If you have an affair with Gu Lingqing, his political future will be gone. Su Jiran warned. She wouldn't have an affair with Gu Lingqing. Soon, she would regain her freedom and start a formal relationship with him from a friend. She walked forward. Even if you get a divorce, his family won't accept a woman like you. Baiya, wake up. Su Jiran raised his voice. At the mention of the word divorce, his heart was filled with panic. Baiya looked down and ignored him. Su Jiran walked over quickly and grabbed her arm. You can only have the life you want if you start over with me. I can give you everything you want. You are no longer in the life I want. Baiya's eyes were red, and she desperately shook his hand. She didn't plan for him in her life. He didn't understand why a woman's feelings could disappear so quickly. He tightened his grip on her hand and asked suspiciously, "Have you ever loved me? Whether I love you or not, does it make any difference to our future? We can't talk about this anymore with our current relationship," Baiya said coldly. "In your eyes, what is our relationship?" "I would rather have never known you," Baiya said resolutely. Now, she might only have hatred left for him. "Then I should leave a mark on your body so that you will never forget me," Su Jiran said coldly. Baiya saw the danger in his eyes and struggled to get away. Instead, he held her tightly and put his hand into her loose hospital gown. His big palm was separated by her SpongeBob SquarePants, but it didn't seem to be enough. He followed the strap of her gown and wanted to unbutton the button on her back. Baiya flew into a rage out of humiliation. She slapped him. Su Jiran turned his face and looked at her. His eyes were as red as blood and he had lost all rationality. He tore off her gown with brute force. The buttons fell off and he hugged her waist tightly. Baiya felt the swollen thing in his abdomen pressing against her tightly. She was trembling in fear. "Su Jiran, let go of me. Don't make me hate you." "Hate? It's better than being a stranger. I don't mind if you hate me," Su Jiran said cruelly. Baiya saw him zipping up, in broad daylight, in front of a crowd. She kicked at Su Jiran's underling. It hit. Su Jiran bent over in pain. The murderous look in his eyes was very strong, as if he wanted to tear Baiya into pieces. Baiya ran with all her might and did not give herself a chance to breathe. She returned to the ward and locked the door. She felt that it was not safe, so she pushed the cabinet, the table, and the bed against the door. "Baiya, open the door." Su Jiran was completely furious. Every time he hit the door, it was as if he was going to kick the door open. Bang, bang, bang. The sound fell on her heart one by one. She hid on the bed, her body trembling, and her hand clutching Gu Lingqing's book tightly. She wanted to ask him for help. However, it was his working hours now. She couldn't. She had to endure it, endure it. "I'll count to 3. Open the door." 1. Su Jiran's voice was like that of a demon. If he rushed in, he would not just be strong, he would ruthlessly crush her soul. 2. The voice on the other side of the door was rough and full of anger. Baiya was scared, really scared. She did not want to have anything to do with Su Jiran. Chapter 45. Gu Lingqing was on the way to the island. When he saw it was Baiya, he immediately picked up. Gu Lingqing, Baiya shouted. She seemed to see the window that led to the light open in the darkness. She couldn't hold it in. She shed tears. Gu Lingqing could tell something was wrong with Baiya. His heart tightened. He asked softly, "What's wrong? Can you come now?" Baiya begged. She wanted to see him. She really wanted to see him. Gu Lingqing frowned. His gaze was deep and complicated. There was a show on Songlang Island today. He promised to watch it. Military orders must be obeyed. He had always been strict with himself. However, he was more concerned about Baiya. "Lieutenant Colonel Shang, go to the hospital," Gu Lingqing ordered. "But Song Lang has already left." Lieutenant Colonel Shang didn't understand. "I'll come back and watch the whole thing. Don't talk nonsense. Go to the hospital," Gu Lingqing said firmly. The car was on the way to the hospital. Baiya put down her phone. Her heart was filled with hope. 3. Su Jiran shouted the last number. He picked up the fire extinguisher next to him and smashed it on the glass. The glass shattered. It was as if her life was shattered. He reached in and turned the doorknob. Baiya got down from the bed and looked at Su Jiran cautiously. Su Jiran kicked away the cabinet that was blocking his way. His whole body was shrouded in an aura of death. Baiya unconsciously retreated to the wall. There was no way out. "No," Baiya said while crying. She looked like she was about to wither. She didn't feel a trace of fear when she faced the gangsters. Su Jiran was 100 times more powerful than those gangsters. Her tears softened his heart. "You almost crippled me. How are you going to make it up to me?" Su Jiran asked coldly. "Su Jiran, there are many women who are willing to provide their bodies to you. Don't force me." Baiya clenched his fists quietly. "Come home with me. I'll count to 3. If you promise me now, I won't touch you. After 3, I'll take you right now," Su Jiran warned. Baiya looked at the door. She really hoped that Gu Lingqing would rush over to save him. 1. "Baiya, I will never divorce you. You can only be my, Su Jiran's, wife for the rest of your life. Don't even think about liking someone else." 2. There was always a woman living in Gu Lingqing's heart, and this woman would come back soon. You're just a peanut to relieve his boredom. Baiya was surprised. Her gaze shifted from the door to Su Jiran's face. She just realized that she didn't seem to understand Gu Lingqing at all. "It's almost 3. Baiya, you can't wait for me to have sex with you," Su Jiran said evilly. He placed his hand on the side of Baiya's face so that she couldn't retreat. Baiya's phone rang. Her hope was ignited. Su Jiran saw the caller ID of Lu Shuang and smiled coquettishly. "Pick it up." Baiya answered the phone defensively. "Xiao Bai, I'm sorry. I locked the recording in the drawer, but the drawer was pried open." "The information is gone," Lu Shuang said guiltily. Baiya paused and shrugged her shoulders helplessly. No matter how stupid she was, she understood that it must be Su Jiran's doing. She couldn't get a divorce. Gu Lingqing could save her once, twice, thrice, or even 4 times. "I'll go home with you," Baiya said in despair. Su Jiran smiled coquettishly with satisfaction. He hugged her waist and moved closer to her face lovingly. "Don't worry, I'll definitely make you lie on my bed willingly. I also believe that you'll fall in love with the feeling of me having sex with you." Baiya didn't move. She seemed to have gone through the vicissitudes of life, empty and desperate. She sent a text to Gu Lingqing. "I'm fine now. I can leave the hospital normally. Don't worry. You don't have to come over. Thank you. Sorry for bothering you. After sending the text, she wanted to cry. But she couldn't even cry. She only felt bitter in her heart. She didn't do anything wrong. Why did she have to provoke a demon like Souljourney? She didn't understand. She didn't understand why God treated her like this. She wrote another text to Lu Shuang. I'm going home with Souljourney now. Let's talk later. Lu Shuang called her immediately. Souljourney snatched the phone. When he saw that it was Lu Shuang's, he returned it to Bai Ye. Bai Ye picked up the call. Xiao Bai, your brain must have been squeezed by a door. Now you're going home with Souljourney. Don't be afraid. I'll find more evidence for you, Lu Shuang shouted. Souljourney snatched the phone again. I've already transferred the 200,000 back to your account. You'd better not interfere with the matter between me and Bai Ye. Otherwise, I'll make you suffer. Come on, I'm not afraid of you. You'd better not cheat. Otherwise, it'll be very easy to get evidence, Lu Shuang shouted. She had never lost a quarrel before. Souljourney smiled maliciously and hung up. Gu Lingqing called him. Hatred flashed across Souljourney's eyes. He picked up the call. Are you all right? Gu Lingqing's voice was filled with deep concern. Souljourney pressed the play button and passed the phone to Bai Ye. Bai Ye didn't dare to pick up Gu Lingqing's call. She was afraid that Souljourney would play dirty tricks. Souljourney's eyes became fierce. He signaled her to pick up the call. Bai Ye held the phone tightly and put it to her ear. What happened? Why didn't you say anything? I'll be there in an hour. Gu Lingqing's voice became softer. 1 hour. It was too late. I'm okay. I saw a mouse just now. I'm afraid of mice and snakes. The doctor said that I'm recovering well. I'll be discharged now. She found a reasonable explanation for her crying just now. But when she heard his voice, she wanted to cry again. It's good that you're okay. I've already applied for the Good Citizen Award that I told you about last time. Don't worry about your mother. I'll arrange it. Go to Provence and have fun during this period. Gu Lingqing said softly. There were ripples in Bai Ye's heart. She just said it and he did it. Unfortunately, she didn't deserve such a man. Souljourney hung up the phone. He's considerate. Are you touched? What do you think? Bai Ye asked back. There was no hidden sadness in her eyes. Souljourney's eyes narrowed. I refuse. I, Souljourney's wife, don't need to accept gifts from other men. Doesn't your mother want to see me? I have time to arrange it. Let's go back. I'm a little tired. Bai Ye said tiredly. The more Gu Lingqing thought about it, the more she felt that something was wrong. According to Bai Ye's character, she might be afraid when she saw mice and snakes, but she would never cry. Something must have happened to her. Lieutenant Colonel Shang's phone rang. He answered the phone and said urgently, Chief, bad news. There's a major accident on the island. Tsang Lang caused an explosion as soon as it went up. There were a total of 13 team members. 5 of them escaped safely. 8 of them were injured to different degrees. The leader, number 108, suffered the most serious injuries. Both of his legs were blown off. Send them to the military hospital immediately. I'll go there now. Gu Lingqing ordered urgently. Chapter 46. Gu Lingqing stepped onto the island. The injured had already been evacuated. There were many holes on the island, and there was black residue from the medicine. The air was very turbid. Gu Lingxing's sharp eyes swept over the scene, and a trace of hatred and killing flashed across his cold eyes. He ordered coldly, "There are not many people selling chain mines in a country. Within 24 hours, I want to find all the sellers and buyers." "Yes," Lieutenant Colonel Shang replied fearfully. At Su Jiran's villa. Bai stood behind him, watching as he keyed in the password, 199203116. She used to think that he was using her birthday as the password, and she was touched. So, Xing Jinyan had the same birthday as her. "Jiran, you're back." Xing Jinyan stood at the door, tilting her head and calling out sweetly. Bai looked at Xing Jinyan coldly. She was wearing an extremely short skirt, and if she bent down, her panties could be seen. Her fishnet stockings with holes accentuated her snow-white skin. Bai's lips twitched. Was the governor's daughter out for sale? Xing Jinyan saw Bai behind Su Jiran and was stunned. She smiled sweetly. "Sister, you're here too." Bai ignored her and walked in. There was a bottle of red wine, 2 goblets, a fruit salad, 2 steaks, and an elaborately prepared heart-shaped foie gras on the table. Bai really didn't know why Su Jiran brought her here. "Should I not be here?" Xing Jinyan asked Su Jiran softly. Su Jiran smiled devilishly as he sized up her voluptuous figure. He didn't answer her question. "Your outfit is not bad, it's very pretty." "Really? As long as you like it, it's fine." "You must be hungry, let's eat. I specially made this today." Xing Jinyan held onto Su Jiran's arm. Bai walked towards the room. "Bai, let's eat together. Have a taste of Xiaoyan's cooking. She's quite virtuous." Su Jiran stopped Bai. Bai stopped and looked at the air coldly. His eyes became more and more desolate. Even if she didn't mention it, she wouldn't feel the pain anymore. What kind of attitude did he have when she cooked for him last week? Other people's cooking was virtuous, but her cooking was disgusting. Then she'd better not disgust them. "No, take your time. I'm not hungry." She walked away without looking back and pushed the door open. The wedding photo on the wall was replaced by Xing Jinyan's personal portrait. On the bedside table was a photo of Xing Jinyan and Su Jiran. What was even more ironic was that in her wedding room, there was a set of clothes that Xing Jinyan had changed out of, as well as a box of necessities that she had bought for the two of them to make love. There was no longer a place for her in this place. She is not a narcissistic person. She didn't think that Su Jiran refused to divorce her because he loved her. He brought her here just to humiliate her. Bai turned around and faced Su Jiran. "I've finished admiring the world of the two of you. Can I leave now?" Su Jiran pulled out a chair. "Come here and sit down. I don't need to repeat myself. You can't afford to offend me." "Su Jiran, what more do you want?" Bai was already annoyed. "What do I think I want?" Su Jiran looked at her warningly. "Don't disobey me again." Bai sat down in front of the dining table patiently. She wanted to see how disgusting they could be. "Luckily, I prepared a few more steaks." "Sister, wait for 3 minutes." Xing Jinyan smiled and went into the kitchen. She mixed a layer of salt and chili on the ready-made steaks. She didn't even put them on the pot to cook. Instead, she put them on a plate and brought them to Bai. "Sister, eat more. If it's not enough, I can make more," she said sweetly and sat next to Su Jiran, acting like the hostess of the house. Bai lowered her eyes. Her long eyelashes covered the window of her soul. Su Jiran scrutinized Bai's expression. He wanted to see her jealous and angry. Even if it was tit for tat. But she didn't. He couldn't help feeling a little disappointed. Xing Jinyan looked at Su Jiran and her gaze fell on Bai Ye. How could she allow the man she liked to look at other women? She reached out to Su Jiran's knee and slowly moved it up. Her other hand stabbed a banana. This is my favorite. Su Jiran indulged Xing Jinyan. Eat more if you like it. Xing Jinyan became even more charming. Sister, I forgot to bring vinegar. Can you help me check if there's any vinegar in the kitchen? Bai Ye stood up expressionlessly and walked into the kitchen. Xing Jinyan immediately kissed Su Jiran on the cheek. Jiran, I want it while you're not here. Su Jiran never rejected passionate beauties. He kissed her, but his eyes were fixed on the kitchen. Bai Ye saw what they were doing from the window. Her stomach hurt. She didn't know if it was because she was hungry or because she was disgusted. She poured some water and stood by the window, looking at the scenery outside. If they had more time, Xing Jinyan would help Su Jiran solve his physiological problems and she would be safer. Su Jiran saw that she didn't turn around and was a little annoyed. He let go of Xing Jinyan and shouted to the kitchen, "It's okay if you can't find it. I don't like to be jealous anyway." Bai Ye sighed. Impatience flashed in her eyes. She turned around and met Xing Jinyan's provocative gaze. Sister, come and eat. It won't taste good when it's cold. Bai Ye sat down and cut a piece of beef. There was blood on it. She felt a surge of anger in her heart. She had never seen such a disgusting woman. She threw the spoon on the plate. Jiran, I'm scared. Xing Jinyan burrowed into Su Jiran's arms. Su Jiran saw that Bai Ye finally had a reaction. His smile widened and he hugged Xing Jinyan's waist. What's wrong with you? Little Nian worked hard to make this. Look at you now. What do I look like? Bai Ye asked. Her eyes were bloodshot. I'm a shrew, a jealous woman. Our life is hell. Let's end it. Su Jiran's face turned cold and scary. You've taken the wrong medicine again. I told you not to disobey me. What do you mean by disobey? Her eyes were filled with moisture. What kind of woman do you want your wife to be? Bai Ye looked away and wiped the tears that she didn't want to fall. When she loved him, he loved other women. When she didn't love him anymore, he still wanted to control her. This marriage was simply purgatory. You're crying. Su Jiran was shocked. There was a strange glint in his eyes. In the past, when he was with other women, she was always arrogant and domineering. Other than not giving him face, she would never cry. He was a little annoyed and let go of Xing Jinyan's waist. Why are you crying? I'll give you my steak. It's already cut. Su Jiran placed the steak in front of Bai Ye. Bai Ye looked at him. All these years, she had never softened up to him. Her pride wouldn't allow her to bow down to him, who had done something wrong. But she was so tired. She didn't want pride anymore. She wanted relief. Chapter 47. Seeing her tears, Su Jiran's heart tightened and he felt inexplicably uncomfortable. He didn't love Bai Ye. From the first day he met her, he came with a motive. He wanted to get close to Xing Bachuan. What he didn't expect was that Xing Bachuan didn't want to acknowledge her as his daughter at all. He regretted it and didn't want to marry her, so he arranged the kidnapping. She had escaped from the kidnapping and had even been raped. He was furious. She insisted on marrying him. He had married her to torture her. But when she asked for a divorce, he understood how she felt. He didn't want it. He couldn't figure out why, so he was a little depressed. Let's separate for a month. If I'm sure that I don't want you anymore, I'll divorce you. don't do anything wrong to me in this month. Baya cried tears of joy, as if she had seen the light of hope. She picked up her bag and left, almost as if she was escaping from him. Xing Jinyan smiled smugly. Baya finally knew what was good for her. Jiran. Xing Jinyan's hands wandered restlessly on Su Jiran's legs. Sister is leaving, let's continue. Su Jiran wasn't interested at all. Xiaoyan, you can leave first. Alright then, I'll leave first. If I didn't know you, I would suspect that you have fallen in love with Baya, Xing Jinyan said deliberately. Su Jiran's eyes sharpened and he pressed her down on the table. If you talk nonsense again, I'll kill you. How could I fall in love with her? Xing Jinyan clung onto Su Jiran and smiled seductively. Sure, I couldn't ask for more. Su Jiran stared at Xing Jinyan coldly, as if he wanted to eat her up. Suddenly, he sneered and said, then I'll do as you wish. He just felt very frustrated and his heart was gloomy. He couldn't sort it out, so he decided not to think about it. Baya contacted Lu Shuang. Lu Shuang asked for leave to open the door for her and asked worriedly, Xiao Bai, what did that bastard Su Jiran do to you? He agreed to separate and we can get a divorce in a month, Baya said with a smile. He finally made the right decision. You can live with me first, in case he takes things too hard and goes to you again. It's not big for me to live alone anyway. Lu Shuang opened the door. Thank you, Shuang. Lu put his arm around Baya's shoulders. Jiao. You, he said. Baya first hung Gu Lingqing's book on the balcony. Lu Shuang leaned against the door frame and stirred her coffee. Once you're done with Su Jiran, you can start with him. I think he's a good guy. Yasu, I should be, bye-bye Lu's, who said, who bye-byes love. Shouldn't a girl find someone better than her? It doesn't matter if he's worthy or not, the most important thing is to capture his heart first. Lu Shuang took a big sip of coffee. She had to work the night shift today. Baya just smiled faintly and didn't answer Lu Shuang's words. Her cell phone rang. Seeing that it was Gu Lingqing, she hesitated for a moment and decided that it was better to make it clear. She didn't want to be in touch with love right now. She was already riddled with scars and needed time to recover. Baya answered the call. Are you okay? I heard that you've taken 5 days off. I'll arrange for your mother to come out now. I'll have someone send you the plane tickets to Provence later. Someone will receive you when you arrive there. Gu Lingqing said softly. Hearing his voice and feeling his concern, her heart was sour and astringent, and some reluctance flowed in her eyes. However, the better some people were, the more she noticed the distance between them. The less he owed, the better. No, I don't want to go out. My mother is seriously ill now, and it's not suitable for her to go out. I want to invite you to dinner tonight. Are you free? Baya lowered her eyes and said. Well, sure. I'll pick you up. Meet me at the entrance of Sparta Coffee Shop in Watermoon International in an hour. I'll hang up first. Baya hung up the phone in a hurry. Lu Shuang smiled ambiguously and said, that soldier, he's a promising young man. Not bad. Just sleep with him today. I'm going to make it clear to him. Baya said faintly. Make what clear? Don't refuse him. Lu Shuang was anxious. I'm divorced. I was raped 3 years ago. My mother is mentally ill. Do you think his family will accept me? Baya asked back. As long as you have true love. Why are you feeling inferior? How many women are more beautiful than you? You've been tricked by Su Jiran. Lu Shuang didn't want her to give up. Su Jiran said that we'll be separated for a month. It's fine. I'll be free after a month. I don't want to stimulate Su Jiran's possessiveness. I just want to live a quiet life. Gu Lingqing is a man I can't mess with. Bai Ye had thought it through very clearly. Forget it. You haven't divorced yet. I won't encourage you. But Xiao Bai, you should think more about yourself. Don't always think about others. You're the one who suffers losses. Lu Shuang felt sorry for her. At least I have a clear conscience. Bai Ye entered the room and took her bank card. She went to the bank first and withdrew all the money. When she arrived at the entrance of Sparta coffee shop, Gu Lingqing was already inside, sitting by the window. The afterglow of the setting sun fell on his handsome face. He seemed to have a lot on his mind. He lowered his eyes and stirred his coffee subconsciously. He didn't drink it. Instead, he looked up. When he saw her, he put down 100 yuan on the table. He stood up and walked towards her. Are you okay? Are you okay? The two of them said at the same time. Bai Ye smiled. Even if he wasn't okay, what could she do? It was fine as long as she wasn't a burden. There's a lot of food on the 4th floor. What do you want to eat? Bai Ye asked. Anything is fine. Gu Lingqing said in a low voice. He passed her an ointment. I asked a friend to make this. Apply it on the scars. It won't leave a scar. Bai Ye's eyes darkened. She didn't refuse and accepted the ointment. Soon, they arrived at the 4th floor. Bai Ye walked into a high-end Western restaurant. Gu Lingqing sat opposite Bai Ye. If you're worried about your mother's condition, I can ask the medical staff to accompany you. Chief, Bai Ye greeted him. She couldn't bear his kindness anymore. The way she addressed him made his eyes dim. At first, I wanted to be friends with you. After all, with your status, I can't even fawn over you. But then I thought, what right do I have to be friends with you? Gu Lingqing's face turned cold. He narrowed his eyes. What do you mean? Bai Ye lowered her head. Cruel words were cruel no matter when they were said. Wasn't it? I want to live a quiet and ordinary life. Chapter 48. Fall in love with her. What right did she have? Bai Ye was about to explain when she saw a familiar face from the corner of her eyes. It seemed to be Su Jiran's friend, Zhang Zi. He was the one she had tied up at the last party. She didn't want him to see her, lest he went to Su Jiran's place to talk nonsense and cause more trouble. Bai Ye didn't have much time to think and hid under the table. Gu Lingqing, he frowned in annoyance and lifted the tablecloth. What are you doing? Someone I know is coming over and I don't want him to see me. Bai Ye explained hurriedly. She saw Zhang Zi walking towards her and pulling the tablecloth. Gu Lingqing's heart was filled with an inexplicable anger, which was slowly growing. Do I embarrass you that much? She wanted to pull the tablecloth down but he didn't let her. Bai Ye saw that she couldn't pull it down and Zhang Zi was walking over. It was too late to hide. She buried her face in Gu Lingqing's lap. She buried her face in the wrong place. She could clearly feel that something was wrong with him. Chief Gu was too sensitive. She was so upset that her ears turned red. But Zhang Zi walked to Gu Lingqing's side. Hello, Chief Gu. I didn't expect to see you here. My company has dealings with the Gu Corporation. I didn't see you at the last party. Zhang Zi greeted her warmly. Gu Lingqing's face was livid. He didn't even look at Zhang Zi and said coldly, "Get lost." Zhang Zi was also a man with good judgment. He saw a girl squatting on Chief Gu's lap and naturally imagined a scene. He knew that he had spoiled the mood and said apologetically, please enjoy your meal. Baiya saw Zhang Zi leave but didn't go far. She sat not far away, holding her phone in her hand. She seemed to be texting something and looked at them from time to time. She suspected that he was gossiping with Su Jiran about this. If she came out at this time and Zhang Zi found out who she was, she would definitely be dead. Baiya did not dare to come out. Gu Lingqing glanced at her, and a sharp light flashed across his deep eyes. He put down the tablecloth and called Lieutenant Colonel Shang. I am now at the Western restaurant on the 4th floor of Shui Yu International. Clear all the staff in the restaurant in 10 minutes. Baiya looked at Gu Lingqing gratefully. He didn't look at her. His entire body exuded a murderous aura, and as time passed, his anger grew stronger and stronger. Lieutenant Colonel Shang brought a platoon of people and quickly cleared out the people in the restaurant. With the restaurant as a circle, they spread out 10 meters. Within 10 meters, no one could get close to the restaurant. He pulled Baiya out and carried her to the table. Baiya had a bad feeling about this. She had never seen him so angry before. He looked like a hungry beast. He lowered his head and fiercely kissed her lips. It was extremely ferocious, swallowing all of her breath, as if it was a punishment. He sucked very hard. Baiya felt a sharp pain in his lips. She didn't want to have any ambiguous relationship with him, so she pushed his shoulders with all her might. The more she pushed him, the more irrational he became. He held her hand and pressed it on the table. Baiya was forced to lie on the table and looked at his bloodshot eyes. Gu Lingqing's chest was heaving up and down violently. He stared at her as if she was his food. Baiya, let's be together, Gu Lingqing said in a low voice. He lowered his head and bent her knees. He kissed his way up her knees. Baiya was so scared that her legs were trembling. Gu Lingqing, we can't do this. I am a married woman, and we won't be together. If you continue to be with me, you will only ruin your future. Baiya tried to wake him up. Gu Lingqing sneered. Do you think I care about your identity? Aren't you going to get divorced soon? Besides, who told you that I will ruin my future if I stay with you? Gu Lingqing questioned. It's not appropriate for us to be like this now. After all, we haven't divorced, have we? Baiya struggled to get off the table. Gu Lingqing looked at her coldly, and the gloominess in his eyes became deeper and deeper. Since she was so unwilling, it was meaningless for him to force her. Gu Lingqing loosened his hand and said indifferently, you can go. Baiya paused and stood up from the table. Gu Lingqing sat on the seat and looked at her coldly. Baiya didn't dare to look at him. She lowered her head and said, I will remember the chief's help for me, and I will pray for you. Get out. Gu Lingqing said coldly, and his voice became more and more indifferent. What he wanted was not her blessing, but her. Baiya took out the money from her bag and put it on the table. The money for your cosmetics and clothes. After that, she left with her head down. A sharp light flashed across Gu Lingqing's eyes. She really wanted to settle the score with him and make it clear that there was nothing between them. He pushed all the money on the table to the ground. In the next few days, Baiya cancelled her annual leave. Su Jiran seemed to have disappeared, and he didn't call her again. And no other women came to provoke him. The days passed peacefully. Occasionally, she would think of Gu Lingqing, that handsome, noble, and arrogant man. The days with him were enough to be her precious memory, which warmed her for a long time. Friday came, but she didn't go to see her mother. Her mother said that she would bring Su Jiran next time. Where would she find Su Jiran? Baiya called the nurse over there and told her to wash her hair, take a bath, and cut her nails. She didn't dare to go there. Knock, knock, knock. There was a knock on the door. Lu Shuang stood at the door and felt sorry for her. You rejected such a good man, don't you regret it at all? The life now is what I want. Bai Yi stood up calmly and cleaned the table. I think you regret it, Lu Shuang said softly. Bai Yi looked up at Lu Shuang. Because I know that I made the right decision. Let's go, I'll cook for you tonight. Bai Yi took off her white dress, hung it on the clothes rack, and held Lu Shuang's arm. Lu Shuang glanced at Bai Yi and felt that she was unhappy. She wanted to do something for Bai Yi, or at least not miss out on Gu Lingqing. At night, Lu Shuang dragged Bai Yi out to do her hair. She called Gu Lingqing secretly. Gu Lingqing answered. Hello, I'm Bai Yi's friend, Lu Shuang said in a low voice. N. Gu Lingqing responded in a deep voice. Let me tell you, my friend is a quiet person. She likes to keep everything in her heart. Do you know why she rejected you? Lu Shuang said. Gu Lingqing didn't say anything. Lu Shuang continued, she actually likes you. Do you remember that you have a Russian book with her? That book was thrown into the pond by that scumbag, Su Jiran. She treasured it so much that she dried your book and went around looking for it. She bought a copy of it. Chapter 49. That doesn't prove that she likes me, does it? Or maybe she just thinks that she owes me a Russian book. Gu Lingqing said in a self-deprecating tone. Thinking of the scene where Bai Yi returned him the money, his eyes were cold and desolate. She likes you, I promise. She often holds your Russian book in a daze. Oh yes, she rejected you because she and Su Jiran agreed to live apart for a month. After a month, she can get a divorce. She is afraid that something might happen, so she left you first, Lu Shuang said in a hurry. Gu Lingqing frowned and remained silent. Seeing that Gu Lingqing didn't speak, Lu Shuang couldn't figure out what he was thinking, so he continued, can you take the initiative? Xiao Bai is a very passive person. You'd better force yourself on her or something. Gu Lingqing, would it be useful for him to force himself on her? He was afraid that Bai Yi would hate him to death. Let me tell you, Bai Yi has never slept with her husband. Women also have needs. If you make her feel good, she will definitely be loyal to you. Hee. Lu Shuang said with a guilty conscience. If Bai Yi knew that she said that to Gu Lingqing, they might not be friends anymore. Really? Gu Lingqing obviously didn't believe it. Well, I have a blind date tomorrow. I will take Xiao Bai there. It's a masquerade ball. Xiao Bai has changed her hairstyle. I will take a picture and send the address to you. Will you come? Lu Shuang invited. Gu Lingqing didn't say anything. Lu Shuang wasn't sure whether he would come or not. I will send you the address. After that, she hung up and sent the address to Gu Lingqing. Gu Lingqing still didn't reply. Lu Shuang could only go back to the barber shop. She hired the director of the shampoo to cut Bai Yi's hair. Bai Yi's face was small, and her skin was fair. However, she didn't take care of her hair. She didn't do any hair care, let alone dye or perm her hair. The director cut her hair into a bob, softened it, and dyed it chestnut. Her face was even smaller, and her skin was better. She had big eyes, a full face, and half of her forehead was exposed. Every part of her was perfect, not delicate, but charming. Bai Yi was already pretty to begin with, but now she was stunning. Su Jiran really has no taste. He doesn't want such a beauty and is fooling around outside. Lu Shuang took a photo of Bai Yi and sent it to Gu Lingqing. Can we not talk about him? Bai Yi stood up. Fine, let's get rid of this scumbag. We have a better choice. Lu Shuang smiled slyly. She wondered if Chief Gu would go there tomorrow. Sigh. Early the next morning Lu Shuang was putting on makeup for Bai Yi excitedly. Bai Yi didn't know whether to laugh or cry. "Girl, I'm the one going on the blind date with you, not the other way around. You should put on makeup for yourself, not me." "Of course." Lu Shuang was putting on lipstick for Bai Yi. "Of course I'll put on makeup for myself, but you're my female companion. If you're not pretty, it'll make me look lowly. Be a good girl and go to my place to pick out some clothes later." "All right." Bai Yi didn't want to be a burden to Lu Shuang. Lu Shuang chose a white bat muslin for her, with a black bra inside. Through the white muslin, one could vaguely see Bai Yi's breasts and slender waist that couldn't be covered. In the past, Bai Yi's clothes were too conservative, and they covered her excellent figure. She really hoped that Chief Gu could be charmed by Bai Yi, and then, he. The more Lu Shuang thought about it, the more excited he became. She was really looking forward to today's blind date party. Bai Yi saw that Lu Shuang had prepared 3 sets of clothes for her, and he had also brought 3 sets for himself, along with a swimsuit. She asked in surprise, "Why did you bring so many clothes? That place is a bit far away. It's by the sea, and we've agreed to go there for 2 days. We'll be staying there tonight, so I can always bring more clothes and put them in the trunk." Lu Shuang explained. "Do you have to date for 2 days?" Lu Shuang shrugged. "My dad's request is probably for me to get the girl on the first try. He's getting old, so he's always anxious. I'll cooperate with him. Oh right, I forgot to tell you that the woman who recorded me last time has gone missing. She probably doesn't dare to offend Su Jiran. Forget it, I'm separated from Su Jiran now anyway, and we'll get divorced in a month. Then you should go for a blind date too, just in case." Lu Shuang instigated. "That's not good. Let's go." Bai Yi helped Lu Shuang carry the luggage. The place for the blind date was really far away. It took Lu Shuang 3 hours to arrive. However, the place was very beautiful. A private villa faced the sea. There was a beach outside the villa. There were rows of umbrellas, deck chairs, beautiful women wearing masks and bikinis, and unique straw huts on the beach. There were many luxury cars parked in the parking lot of the villa. Bai Yi got out of the car, and the sea breeze blew on her face and her hair fluttered. The air was fresh and refreshing, making people feel refreshed. Lu Shuang glanced at the beach. Because everyone was wearing masks, she really couldn't recognize which one was Gu Lingqing. She wondered if Gu Lingqing was here. She pulled Bai Yi to walk to the beach. 2 bodyguards stopped them and said expressionlessly, "Young Master Shen said that people who come here have to sign in first and arrange rooms." "Oh, got it. Got it." Lu Shuang followed the bodyguards to the villa to sign in first. Before entering the villa, they went into a small room, where there were 6 tall bodyguards. Lu Shuang signed his name. The bodyguards checked the name list and made sure that Lu Shuang was there. Then they gave him the room card and the chest card and let him in. Lu Shuang was a little worried. If it was a real name system, could Gu Lingqing come in? "Let's go to the room and have a look." Lu Shuang sighed and said. The bodyguards opened the door. The curtains inside were drawn, and it was a little dark. The living room was carefully decorated, like a bar. There was a bar, neon lights, rotating lights, flashing lights, a high platform, a stereo, wine, music, women, handsome men, and so on. Bai Yi and Lu Shuang put down their luggage and came to the living room. They chose a corner. Bai Yi looked at the high platform. A woman wearing a mask was singing, and there was a number on her body. It was number 05. Her voice was sweet, and there were a lot of people listening to her. "Why are there so many people on this blind date? Are you sure you're not in the wrong place?" I feel like it's a talent show. Bai Ye was suspicious. Lu Shuang shrugged. Who knows? Dad asked me to come. I guess all the unmarried people in the circle are here. Let's have a look and broaden our horizons. Anyway, we won't lose anything. Okay. Bai Ye answered casually. The bodyguards pushed the door open. A man wearing a wolf mask came in. He was wearing an Italian hand-cut black suit, which outlined his tall and straight figure. He had broad shoulders and a narrow waist, which made him look very imposing. Chapter 50. After number 5 finished singing, a new girl went up to sing. Do you want to sing? Bai Ye asked Lu Shuang. Let's see what's going on first, Lu Shuang said rationally. He listened to the song while eating sunflower seeds. Her figure is not good enough. She hasn't fully developed yet. Who is she? Number 10, who was sitting in front of Lu Shuang, asked the man next to him. I'm not sure. They can bring anyone they want. I don't know some of them. I've never seen them before, Shen Yan said lazily. She turned around and looked at Lu Shuang, curling her lips. Lu Shuang glanced at Shen Yan. What are you laughing at? Why do I feel that this person's voice is so familiar? Why isn't there anyone with a good figure? How can someone like this come? It's an insult to my eyes, number 10 said in disdain. Lu Shuang felt that it was meaningless. Xiao Bai, let's go to the beach. Lu Shuang pulled Bai Ye away. She walked too fast and didn't notice the chef coming over with the dishes. She almost bumped into Bai Ye. The man in the wolf mask was quick enough to pull Bai Ye's arm. Lu Shuang didn't know what was going on. He turned around and saw Bai Ye bumping into the arms of the man in the wolf mask. Watch where you are going. Why are you so reckless? The man in the wolf mask said in a low voice. His tone was strong, domineering, sharp, and cold. It sounded like Gu Lingqing. Bai Ye's back stiffened. She looked at him in surprise. Her heart was beating very fast. She was probably crazy. Her heart palpitated when she heard the voice that sounded like Gu Lingqing's. Why would Gu Lingqing attend this kind of blind date? Xiao Bai, are you okay? Lu Shuang pulled Bai Ye over. Bai Ye shook her head. I'm fine. Lu Shuang glanced at the man in the wolf mask. My friend is Gu Lingqing's woman. Don't even think about her. Bai Ye's face turned red. Fortunately, it was hidden behind the mask. When did she become Gu Lingqing's woman? Because it was too embarrassing, she quickly walked out of the villa. The beach was filled with cheers. A new limited edition Maserati was parked in the middle of the roses. The roses were arranged in the shape of a heart. 2 red ribbons were tied to the rearview mirror, fluttering in the sea breeze. It was very romantic. Lu Shuang dragged Bai Ye over to watch the fun. Su Jiran got out of the car with a devilish smile on his face. He held a heart-shaped balloon in his hand and a Maserati's car key dangling below it as he walked towards Xing Jinyan in the crowd. Wow, this man is so handsome. The crowd was in an uproar. The girls looked at Xing Jinyan enviously. I went to America to buy a car for you. You're so naughty. I heard that you came for a blind date as soon as I came back. Are you trying to piss me off? Su Jiran said, but his tone was doting. Xing Jinyan took the balloon from Su Jiran shyly. It was a custom-made Maserati. It had to be worth at least 3 million. I'm here to accompany my friend, Xing Jinyan explained. Su Jiran lifted her chin. He didn't care about the crowd. He lowered his head and kissed Xing Jinyan's lips. Cheers rang out from the surroundings. Lu Shuang was so angry that he gritted his teeth. What does Su Jiran mean? He's someone else's husband, but he's trying to please another woman. This beast is too playful. He's willing to spend a few million. How come I've never seen him be so generous to you? Bai Ye smiled. She was calmer than he had imagined. Seeing how sweet they were, she should be able to get a divorce soon. Lu Shuang walked to the side and called Gu Lingqing. Gu Lingqing answered the call. Chief, are you here? Bai Ye is being bullied, Lu Shuang said pitifully. I saw it. Don't worry, Gu Lingqing said in a deep voice. He saw it. Could it be that he was here? Lu Shuang looked around excitedly. She saw that the man in the wolf mask was also on the phone. She ran towards him and stood in front of him. Chief Gu, Lu Shuang said carefully. Yes, Gu Lingqing answered in a deep voice. Great, you're really here. I'll bring Bai Ye back to our room. We live in room 3022. You can have a good chat with her. Bai Ye likes you. Hee, I'm leaving now, Lu Shuang said happily. She ran away and pulled Bai Ye back to their room. What's wrong, Shuangniu? Bai Ye didn't understand why she was so excited. What are you doing here? You're insulting our eyes. Let's go back to our room. I have a gift for you. Lu Shuang pulled Bai Ye back to their room. What is it? Bai Ye was getting more and more curious. Take a shower first. You'll know after the shower. Lu Shuang pushed Bai Ye into the bathroom and turned on the tap for Bai Ye. What gift must I take a shower? Bai Ye didn't understand. You're so long-winded. Do you think I'll harm you? Lu Shuang patted his chest. Bai Ye took off her clothes. Lu Shuang carried her clothes and left. Why did you take my clothes? I'll bring them in later. Lu Shuang didn't even turn his head. Bai Ye felt it was strange. After she took a shower, she didn't see Lu Shuang bring her clothes in. Shuangniu, Bai Ye shouted. No one answered her. Bai Ye was confused. She walked out of the bathroom with a towel around her. She saw the man in the wolf mask sitting on the sofa. She was shocked. Who are you? Why are you in my room? Before Gu Lingqing could say anything, Lu Shuang opened the door and popped his head out. He said with a smile, he's the man I found. He's my gift to you. Little Bai, Su Jiran has found another woman. You should find a man too. Otherwise, you'll lose out. Bai Ye, you little girl, what are you talking about? Bai Ye chased after Lu Shuang. Lu Shuang closed the door and went in with a mop. Bai Ye tried to open the door, but it didn't open. She felt as if she was killed by her friend. Shuangniu, open the door. Open the door. Bai Ye knocked on the door. Lu Shuang ignored her. Bai Ye was speechless. She turned around and looked at the man in the wolf mask. The man in the wolf mask was calm. He looked at her deeply and didn't do anything else. My friend is just playing a prank. You don't have to worry about it. Bai Ye said apologetically. Gu Lingqing stood up and walked towards her. Bai Ye stepped back subconsciously. Her back touched the cold door. Gu Lingqing reached out and placed his hand on the side of her head. I don't believe that you can't guess who I am. Bai Ye's heart skipped a beat. Her hands were trembling violently. She moved closer to Gu Lingqing's mask and lifted it. It really was. Gu Lingqing. Why are you here? Bai Ye asked in surprise. What do you think? Gu Lingqing asked in return. He looked at her with a burning gaze. Her face was clearly reflected in his deep eyes. Bai Ye thought about it and felt that Lu Shuang's behavior was abnormal. Did Shuangniu ask you to come? Gu Lingqing lifted her chin. His breath fell on her face. Baiya's heart was beating so fast that it seemed like it was going to jump out of her throat. Chapter 51. He slowly moved closer to her lips. Baiya was flustered. She pushed his hand away and walked out from his arms. She felt very uncomfortable. She covered the towel tied around her chest. Her mind seemed to be in a knot, and she didn't know what to say. Gu Lingqing didn't say anything either. He looked at her uneasy back view. I want to change my clothes, you. Baiya turned around. He was already standing behind her. She was shocked. She took a step back and sat on the bed. Gu Lingqing moved closer to her. Baiya pushed against his chest with both hands. Her palms could feel the frequency of his heartbeat, and her fingertips were trembling. What? It's not like I haven't seen it before. Do you want me to help you put it on? He asked. His tone was ambiguous, and his gaze was sharp. The pressure was too strong. I didn't mean that, Baiya said anxiously. Her face was red. You didn't mean that? Gu Lingqing asked. It's my friend's prank. Even if my husband is looking for women outside, I don't want to find a man to take revenge on him. Before Baiya could finish, Gu Lingqing kissed her. The kiss was very strong and domineering. Baiya moved back. He pressed her down on the bed and pressed her shoulders. Baiya couldn't move. She could only purse her lips. Gu Lingqing frowned. He didn't like her resistance. His large palm moved up her legs. Baiya realized what he was going to do. She pushed his hand away. He held her hand with one hand and pressed it down on top of her head. Don't. Like this. Before Baiya could say the last two words, he had already entered her mouth and wrapped his tongue around hers. She wanted to push him out. She stared at the tip of his tongue. He sucked her into his mouth. Baiya wanted to pull out. She focused on the top and didn't have time to be distracted. Until a stronger electric current came from her spinal cord and rushed to her brain, occupying her thoughts. He actually, Baiya found it hard to speak. Aside from that strange man 3 years ago, he was the first person who had touched her. The feeling was unfamiliar, but it had an indescribable surge of emotions. After all, she was already 24 years old, not 14. She was very sensitive. She tried to push his hand away, but she could not move. She wanted to ask him to hold on, but he blocked her lips. Baiya wanted to hide, but he couldn't. Instead, he became more and more aroused. Is this our room? Who's playing a prank, sticking a mop on the door? Xing Jinyan's sweet voice drifted in. Baiya widened his eyes. How could it be Xing Jinyan's voice? This room belonged to her and Lu Shuang. When did it become Xing Jinyan's? If they saw her and Gu Lingqing like this, she didn't even dare to think about it. Baiya struggled and heard the sound of the mop being pulled out. Beep, beep, beep. The door opened. Su Jiran pushed the door open and came in. Baiya hid under the bed, not daring to move or breathe. Xing Jinyan kissed Su Jiran eagerly. The two of them threw themselves on the bed. Baiya felt the bed shake. Xing Jinyan and Su Jiran's clothes were thrown on the floor, including their underwear. Xing Jinyan was good at moaning. That voice, Baiya's face was red. What was going on? She hid under the bed, watching her husband and her sister, Dai Luan. If she was alone, she would have treated it as a free performance. The problem was, Gu Lingqing was still there. She felt extremely embarrassed. Jiran, when are you divorcing my sister? Xing Jinyan asked, panting. Su Jiran slapped Xing Jinyan's butt and changed the topic. He said in a hoarse voice, Fox, change positions. If you and my sister didn't divorce, what are we doing now? Xing Jinyan said coquettishly. Tell me, what are we doing now? Are you unhappy? Baiya felt the bed shake even more and bit her fingers awkwardly. Unjustifiable, Xing Jinyan was a little unwilling. Baiya is my wife and we haven't slept together yet. The more you are not my wife, the more impulsive you are, don't you think? Su Jiran said evilly. Baiya felt embarrassed and didn't dare to look at Gu Lingqing. He clamped down on her chin so that she was facing him. Baiya met his eyes, which were full of lust, and her heart skipped a beat. Gu Lingqing lowered his head and kissed her on the lips. He had heard from Lu Shuang that she and Su Jiran hadn't slept together. However, after hearing Su Jiran's confirmation, he was even more moved. Baiya felt his breath enter her organs. She was trembling, but she couldn't make a sound or push him away. Su Jiran and Xing Jinyan's voices became louder and louder. It was so hot under the bed that she couldn't think. Gu Lingqing lifted her right leg and placed it on his waist. His large palm slid up her thighs. Baiya felt a white light flash past her eyes. An unprecedented feeling flowed through his senses, surging violently. Luckily, he covered her lips. Otherwise, she would have screamed. Although she had never experienced it, she knew what it was like. Baiya was so embarrassed that she wanted to find a hole to hide in. She didn't expect that she would be like this with Gu Lingqing. Gu Lingqing seemed to have noticed her reaction. He didn't go any further. He just held her waist, pulled her into his arms, and kissed her earlobe. Baiya was soft. She hadn't recovered yet, so she let Gu Lingqing kiss her. Hey, where's the mop? Lu Shuang's voice came in. Baiya was shocked and pushed Gu Lingqing away. Push me away if you're comfortable, Gu Lingqing said in a low voice. Lu Shuang is here, Baiya explained. After saying that, she wanted to bite her tongue off. The other meaning of her words was that if Lu Shuang hadn't come, she would have made him comfortable. She was definitely crazy. She was crazy. Baiya buried her face in his arms and pretended to be dead. Beep, beep, beep. Lu Shuang opened the door and looked at Su Jiran and Xing Jinyan on the bed in shock. She went out and looked at the room number again. There was no mistake. How did Baiya and Gu Lingqing become Su Jiran and Xing Jinyan? She must have opened her eyes in the wrong way. Get out. Su Jiran hadn't gotten over it yet. He was very annoyed and threw a pillow at Lu Shuang. Lu Shuang was hot-tempered. He opened the pillow and said, "You should be the ones going out. This is my room." Xing Jinyan hugged the quilt and said, "Who said it's yours? It's obviously ours, okay? Hurry up and get out." Lu Shuang was furious when he saw Xing Jinyan. "You shameless B***tch, how can you ask me to get out? The man you're using is not yours yet. Who are you calling shameless?" Xing Jinyan said angrily, "Jiran and Baiya are getting a divorce. I'm Jiran's future wife." Chapter 52. Su Jiran strode over, grabbed Lu Shuang's phone, and glared at Lu Shuang with a livid face. "Xiaonian, get dressed, let's leave." "Why?" Xing Jinyan was unwilling to give up. "Just do it," Su Jiran said in a low voice, and a malicious look flashed across his eyes as he looked at Lu Shuang, and the corners of his mouth curled up. Lu Shuang felt a chill invading her. She patted her head. She was so stupid. She should have taken the photos secretly. But where did Xiao Bai and the chief go? Su Jiran picked up the clothes on the ground. Bai Ye was trembling in fear, afraid that Su Jiran would see her when he picked up the clothes on the ground. Luckily, he didn't see her and walked out of the door. "Give me back my phone," Lu Shuang said angrily. Su Jiran was sure that she didn't take any photos, so he threw the phone to Lu Shuang. Lu Shuang called Bai Ye. Bai Ye's phone rang. Lu Shuang saw that Bai Ye's phone was on the coffee table, but there was no one in the room. She hung up the phone, closed the door, and walked out. She remembered that she could call Gu Lingqing. Lu Shuang called Gu Lingqing's phone. Gu Lingqing's phone rang. If Lu Shuang came in at this time, Bai Ye had the urge to dig a hole in the ground. She got up from the ground and ran into the washroom. Gu Lingqing answered the phone. "Chief, have you seen Xiao Bai?" Lu Shuang asked with concern. "Yes," Gu Lingqing answered. "Where is she?" "I don't see her in the room." Lu Shuang was confused. "She's with me." "We'll leave first," Gu Lingqing said in a low voice. "Leave?" Okay. Hurry up and do it with her." Su Jiran, that be *tch, has already painted Xiao Bai green, Lu Shuang instigated. N. Gu Lingqing responded in a deep voice. That voice was like a bell, deep, hoarse, and full of masculine charm. Lu Shuang's heart was beating fast. "Then I won't bother you anymore. Good luck. She hung up the phone excitedly. Lu Shuang, long time no see. A man wearing a fox mask stood in front of her. Lu Shuang frowned. He could tell that the voice belonged to the person who had been sitting next to number 10. "Who are you?" Lu Shuang asked suspiciously. Shen Yan took off his mask. A roguish smile appeared on his beautiful face. 3 parts good, 3 parts evil, 3 parts bad, and 1 part unfathomable. Lu Shuang recognized him. Shen Yan. Her nightmare when she was young. The son of the current president, the crown prince. His father had been promoted and moved out of their neighborhood. She thought that she would never see him again. She was happy for a few days because of that. It was not a good thing to see him again. "Sorry, you got the wrong person." Lu Shuang walked past him. Shen Yan smiled. "Don't worry, as long as I didn't get the wrong person." Lu Shuang pretended not to hear it. He had a bad feeling and ran away immediately. Bai Ye ran into the washroom. She remembered that her clothes were still outside. She secretly opened the door a little and saw a tall figure. The door was opened by Gu Lingqing. Bai Ye was speechless. He stood straight in front of her. Bai Ye lowered her head and did not dare to look at him. "Aren't you childish?" Gu Lingqing asked. "My clothes are still outside," Bai Ye said softly. She thought about what they did under the bed just now and felt very weak. "Come out and get it," Gu Lingqing said in a commanding tone. Bai Ye took out her luggage and took her clothes out. She rushed into the bathroom with them. Gu Lingqing picked up the underwear she dropped on the floor and knocked on the door. Bai Ye was looking for the underwear. She remembered that she took it. She opened the door. Gu Lingqing passed the underwear to her. Her face was hot as if it was going to burn. She took his NEI pants and locked the door. She looked at herself in the mirror. Her face was very red. Bai Ye splashed water on her face and took a deep breath. What was she and Gu Lingqing now? More than friends but not lovers. She calmed her racing heart, got dressed and went out. Gu Lingqing put away the cigarette, got up and went into the bathroom. He turned on the tap and washed his hands. She inadvertently glanced at his hand. His hands were very beautiful. The bureau chief's hands were wide, slender, and looked very strong. She remembered that he didn't go in. Why did she? What are you thinking about? Let's go, Gu Lingqing said. Baiye came back to her senses. Where are we going? Su Jiran and Xing Jinyan are here. Do you think it's suitable for you to stay? Gu Lingqing said in a low voice. It seemed so. I'll ask Shuang Niu to go with me. Baiye walked towards the door. Doesn't she want to go on a blind date? Gu Lingqing held her arm. Then, I'll say hi to her. Gu Lingqing picked up her mask from the coffee table and put it on her. I've told her. Do me a favor. Ha! Gu Lingqing's thoughts changed too quickly. She didn't react in time. There was an accident during Blue Wolf's maneuver. Number 108's legs were blown off. I'm going to visit him today. His wife has just gotten pregnant. I need an obstetrician and gynecologist. Please help me, Gu Lingqing said as he put on his mask. He said it as if it was the truth. She owed him a lot. If he needed help, she wouldn't reject him. Baiye followed behind Gu Lingqing and got into his car. He drove away. She took off her mask and looked out of the window. The sea was still as calm as ever. Facing the sea, it was as if she was tiny, let alone her troubles. Fortunately, she would end things with Su Jiran soon. Did it feel good just now? Gu Lingqing asked, her face strangely red. Baiye, she tugged on her seatbelt. It was obviously against her will to say that it was uncomfortable. They had already done it, how could it be uncomfortable? She said that it was comfortable, but it seemed to be an invitation. Well, will you be criticized for the accident? Baiye changed the topic. I'll keep this matter under wraps for now. I'll catch the mastermind within a week, Gu Lingqing replied. Okay, Baiye replied and breathed a sigh of relief. Gu Lingqing looked at her, held her hand, and held it in his palm. You're my woman now. You know what to do when you see Su Jiran in the future, right? When did she become his woman? Baiye pulled her hand out, lowered her head, and said softly, I haven't divorced him yet. Your relationship with Su Jiran only exists in name. I'll help you get a divorce after I deal with the mastermind. 1 month is too long, Gu Lingqing said domineeringly. Baiye didn't want to start a new relationship. She wanted some time to adjust herself. I just want to work well for now, Baiye said her thoughts. Chapter 53. Baiye was also a little annoyed. He was too overbearing and didn't even ask for her permission. When did I belong to you? We didn't do that. She was embarrassed to say it out loud and her voice became softer. His soft and gentle voice sounded like he was dissatisfied with his desire in some people's ears. Gu Lingqing pulled over and stopped the car. You want that, right? He frowned and asked helplessly. He carried her up from the seat and sat her on his lap. Baiye was completely stunned. He held her hand and pressed it under his body. Baiye was so scared that she wanted to pull her hand out. He held her hand even tighter. You're a little anxious. We're on the road now. Can't we wait until we reach our destination? Gu Lingqing said in a low voice. No, I didn't mean that. I mean, I don't want that. I don't want it. No, I don't want it. Baiye was speechless. No, I didn't mean it that way. I mean, I don't want it. I don't want it. Gu Lingqing saw that she was so nervous that she was incoherent. He found it quite cute and smiled. It was rare for Baiye to see him smile. She was stunned. He pressed the back of her head and brought it in front of his face. He kissed her lips. Her lips were very soft, like cotton candy. Baiya was so scared that she twisted her waist and wanted to leave. Gu Lingqing pressed her back and pressed it in front of him. Baiya twisted and touched him. She moaned and didn't dare to move. He let go of her lips and kissed her deeply along the beautiful line of her neck. She didn't know if the temperature was contagious. Baiya also felt hot. Her mind recalled the feeling under the bed and she couldn't think. Gu Lingqing's breathing became heavier. He unbuttoned her clothes with his fingers, revealing the purple edges. He wanted to eat her up. He wanted to eat her up right now. His kisses were densely packed. Baiya was in a daze and she gave up on herself. Why don't we do it? It's not a loss anyway. But she wasn't divorced yet. What was the difference between him and Su Jiran? Gu Lingqing, can you wait until after my divorce? Baiya said anxiously. Gu Lingqing paused. A pair of dark and wise eyes locked onto her. There seemed to be a monster hibernating in his eyes, flickering. Baiya didn't dare to look at him. He lowered his head and his eyes flickered. He had no choice but to compromise. He kissed her deeply and breathed in her scent. It was as if time had stopped at this moment. A minute passed before he let go of her. Be good and sit properly. Don't tease me anymore, okay? Baiya, she didn't pick on him. But no matter what he said now, it would only make things worse. She looked out of the window and stopped talking. Gu Lingqing drove for 4 hours and arrived at the countryside of another city. Baiya hadn't had lunch yet, and his stomach was growling with hunger. He glanced at her and stopped in front of a farmer's restaurant. Eat something first. Gu Lingqing opened the door to the front passenger seat. Baiya got out of the car. Before she could get off the bed, he carried her down. Be quick. Baiya, she watched him walk into the restaurant. She didn't dare to drag him down and ran to catch up. Gu Lingqing sat down by the window. Baiya sat opposite him. What do you want to eat? Order it yourself. Gu Lingqing passed the menu to her. She remembered that he didn't eat lobster. The waiter came up. Pickled fish with pickled vegetables, eggs with tomatoes, sautéed vermicelli with spicy vermicelli, and winter melon and pork rib soup. President Gu, what else do you want to eat? Baiya looked at Gu Lingqing and asked. He stared at her, his gaze too sharp. He ordered, change the way you address me. Chief. Chief. Baiya was careful. She saw that Gu Lingqing's expression was a little hidden, as if a storm was coming. She was really afraid of him. Gu Lingqing. Baiya corrected herself. Remove, Gu. Oh. Baiya took a pair of disposable chopsticks and opened it. What oh? If you call me the wrong way next time, I won't be as easy to talk to as I am now. Gu Lingqing took the menu and passed it to the waiter. Just follow her order. Baiya bit the chopsticks and waited for the food. She could feel Gu Lingqing's gaze on her face. She was very nervous. Didn't she make it clear to Gu Lingqing before? Why now? She stole a glance at Gu Lingqing, met his gaze, then looked away and looked out of the window. It was already past 5:00 in the afternoon. The sun was setting, dyeing the clouds in the west red. It was very beautiful. The first dish the waiter served was pickled fish with pickled vegetables and 2 bowls of rice. Baiya had her head down as she ate. Gu Lingqing removed the fish bones and placed them on her bowl. Thank you, Baiya said. Gu Lingqing glanced at her. He didn't say anything and continued to help her remove the bones. Baiya couldn't help but look at Gu Lingqing's hand. She felt that his skill was quite mature. He should have had a girlfriend before. This thought made her feel slightly uncomfortable. I learned it from the disc you gave me, Gu Lingqing said in a low voice. Ha! Baiya couldn't react for a moment. You're staring at my hand. Aren't you wondering how I learned it? Gu Lingqing asked. Baiya was completely stunned. This guy, he must know how to read minds. I didn't give that disc to you, Baiya mumbled softly. Then who are you going to give it to? Watch it yourself. Gu Lingqing asked, sizing her up. Baiya felt that the more she said, the more mistakes she made. It's Lu Shuang's. She's playing a prank. Don't always push the responsibility to others. It takes two hands to clap. If you want to watch it, just watch it. You're not a kid anymore. It's normal to watch it. But it's weird for a girl like you to watch it at home. I can arrange it another day, Gu Lingqing said seriously. She felt that what he said was actually a very serious problem. What are you going to do? What do you think I should do? Gu Lingqing asked her in return. You're going to arrange for me to watch it at home. Baiya guessed carefully. At my house. It's quieter there. No one will disturb you, Gu Lingqing said in a low voice. Baiya, she felt that he was going to watch it with her and then do that kind of thing. Baiya was thin-skinned. She blushed again. You can tell me in advance what kind of position you like, Gu Lingqing reminded her. Baiya couldn't even lift her head. Stop talking. Stop talking, she said shyly. Gu Lingqing glanced at her and replied, after dinner. It was already 18 o'clock. The sky was getting dark. Baiya thought of another serious problem. Are we going back tonight? No, we'll find a hotel nearby to stay. We'll go back tomorrow after visiting number 108. Oh. If they were staying in a hotel and not in the same room, she felt a little more at ease. However, she didn't think that there would be a hotel in the middle of nowhere in the countryside. Chapter 54. They each asked for a room. The soundproofing in this kind of hotel was very poor. Baiya listened to the babbling sounds coming from the room next door. She tossed and turned, unable to sleep. The couple next door seemed to not need to sleep. They finally calmed down. What would happen next? They were still facing the wall on her side. Dong, dong, dong. The girl was screaming miserably. Baiya was about to collapse from the noise. She went out for a walk and prepared to come back after they were done. The air in the countryside was much better than in the city. Although it was hot and there were many mosquitoes, the moon was very bright. However, the moon was very bright, and there were fireflies dancing in the grass. She hadn't seen fireflies in a long time. She still remembered that when she was young, she used a bottle to catch many fireflies and put them in her mosquito net. However, fireflies rarely glowed in the mosquito net. They were only happy in the grass. Baiya felt that something was thrown on her back. She turned around and saw a girl lying on the window of the room next to hers. The girl didn't seem to be wearing clothes. She tapped the ground and quickly closed the curtains. Baiya looked at the ground. It was a pink dress. The dress said, "Save me," in black ink. Baiya's heart tightened. Could it be that the girl next door was being held captive? Without much time to think, Baiya rushed to Gu Lingqing's door and knocked on it anxiously. Gu Lingqing opened the door. What's wrong? Gu Lingqing, I suspect that the girl next door is being held captive. Look, this is her asking me for help, Baiya said worriedly. Gu Lingqing glanced at the contents of the dress. Don't worry, I have to confirm how many people are inside. They. Baiya found it hard to say it, but when she thought of the girl's safety, she couldn't care less. They have been doing that kind of thing and it's already disturbing me. I can use this reason to knock on the door and see how many people are inside. I'll tell you then, Baya said. It's too dangerous for you to knock on the door alone. Let's go together. Gu Lingqing held Baya's hand and walked to the room next to Baya's. Gu Lingqing knocked on the door. The door opened. A boy with dyed yellow hair blocked the door. What's the matter? It's very late now. You've disturbed our rest, Gu Lingqing said, looking into the room. There were 2 girls and 5 or 6 boys, and they were all quite young. He. Uncle, you're old, aren't you? You have such a beautiful girlfriend. Why don't we do it together? You can look at us with passion. The blonde-haired boy teased. Gu Lingqing's lips curled up. There was a hidden sharpness in Jimo's eyes. Sure. Gu Lingqing entered the room. Baya knew that he wanted to go in and save the 2 girls. Hearing him say that, she still blushed. She held Gu Lingqing's arm tightly. Sister, you want to challenge all of us alone. Why don't the 6 of us go together and let Uncle challenge 2 of us? How about that? We'll definitely be better than Uncle. The blonde-haired boy teased and reached out to hook Baya's chin. Gu Lingqing quickly pulled Baya behind him. Xiaoya, go back to the room and put on the pajamas I bought. Baya looked at Gu Lingqing. When did he buy her pajamas? She roughly understood that he wanted to send her away. Can you do it alone? Baya asked tentatively. Gu Lingqing smiled. What do you think? Go ahead. Uncle, you're quite interesting. The blonde-haired boy said, staring straight at Baya. Baya didn't want to be Gu Lingqing's burden. She walked out of the door, returned to her room and called 110. Gu Lingqing scanned the room. Beer and snacks were everywhere. There were even drug paraphernalia on the table. Your room is too messy. Why don't you go to my room? It's cleaner, Gu Lingqing said. She held the 2 girls' arms and pulled them out. The 6 guys followed behind them and gestured with their eyes. Gu Lingqing knocked on the door. Baya saw that it was Gu Lingqing and opened the door. Gu Lingqing pushed the 2 girls in, closed the door and reminded them, lock it. The 6 guys realized that they were tricked and went to hit Gu Lingqing together. Baya was worried about Gu Lingqing's safety. She looked out through the peephole. It was very messy outside. She couldn't see who was fighting who. Sister, can brother-in-law beat them alone? Blonde is trained, the girl who threw the clothes asked worriedly. Stay in the room. Don't come out. Baya looked around the room. The only thing that could hurt them was the ashtray. She went to get the ashtray. A knife was pressed against Baya's neck. The cold touch stimulated her skin. Baya looked at the girl who threw the clothes in surprise. What are you doing? Baya asked confusedly. I'm sorry, sister. We need some money. We need some, the girl who threw the clothes said. The other girl went through their wallets and took their phones. You threw the clothes on purpose to lure me to your room. Baya was suspicious. I thought you were alone. Blonde likes you. I didn't expect you to be with a guy. Blonde's skills are pretty good. I'll just enjoy it and spend some money, the girl who threw the clothes laughed. Put the knife away first, Baya said coldly. That won't do. Your guy is good at fighting. I still need you to get out of here, the girl who threw the clothes threatened. The other girl opened the door. Baya saw that Gu Lingqing had already beaten the 6 guys to the ground. Stop, the girl who threw the clothes said. She pulled Baya's arm and walked out. Gu Lingqing's eyes were sharp. He looked at the girl who threw the clothes coldly. Blonde, I've caught the beauty for you. Don't forget to give me 5 grams, the girl who threw the clothes said proudly. Blonde got up from the ground. No problem. He looked at Baya. I can't believe I met such a beauty in this stupid place. We're going to have a good time today. Baya frowned. While the girl who threw the clothes was distracted, he pulled her hand away and ran towards Gu Lingqing. Seeing that Baya was running away, the girl who threw the clothes raised her knife and stabbed at Baya. Gu Lingqing was alert. He pulled Baya behind him. The girl who threw the clothes suddenly changed her direction and stabbed at Gu Lingqing. Gu Lingqing couldn't dodge. If he did, he would stab Baya. He stood stiffly and used his hand to block the attack. The knife stabbed into his arm. When the girl who threw the clothes was about to stab him again, Gu Lingqing grabbed her wrist and squeezed it. The girl who threw the clothes couldn't stand the pain. The knife fell to the ground. Baya immediately picked up the knife. Beep, beep. The police sirens were heard outside. Blonde and the others ran towards the stairs. They were blocked by the police. Chapter 55. After Gu Lingqing and Baya made a statement, they went to the mayor's hospital. Baya was a doctor. She helped Gu Lingqing to reduce the inflammation, apply medicine, and tie the bandage. Gu Lingqing looked at her without blinking. She was very focused, and her eyes were on his arm. She frowned slightly, and there seemed to be tears flowing in her eyes. What are you thinking about? Gu Lingqing asked. It seems that nothing good happens when you meet me. The car accident last time, and now you're injured again, Baya said apologetically. Why do I feel that meeting you is a good thing? If it weren't for you, the mission to keep the hostages safe and sound wouldn't have succeeded. It was also because of you that I could use the car accident as an excuse to avoid some messy things. Gu Lingqing comforted her. What about this time? This time I called you over. If I came alone, I would have been fooled too. I didn't know that the two girls were pretending. Maybe I would have died long ago, and I wouldn't have suffered such a little injury, Gu Lingqing said and held her hand. Baya's heart trembled. The temperature of his palm was too high. She wanted to pull away, but he held her in his arms and restrained her. Let go of me. Baya turned her face away and didn't dare to look at her. I don't want to let go, Gu Lingqing said in a deep voice and looked at her with a burning gaze. Baya's heart was beating very fast. Her rationality was already shaking. Gu Lingqing was a good man. Even if this kind of man just stood under the sun, he could shine brighter than the sun. Many ladies from prestigious families wanted to marry him. What did she have to do to deserve him? From the moment they met again, she found that he was so strong that she couldn't resist him. His aura was almost about to drown her. He didn't want to be polite like in the beginning, and he didn't even ask if she was willing or not. She was really afraid that she would make an unforgivable mistake. Gu Lingqing, I'm not divorced. You know that, right? Baya said straightforwardly. I don't care. It's just a piece of paper. I can make this piece of paper invalid right now. Gu Lingqing released her and picked up the phone. He dialed the number. Lieutenant Colonel Shang, I'm Gu Lingqing. Find the best lawyer in the city to help Baya with the divorce case. Settle it within a week. Gu Lingqing ordered domineeringly. Baya was speechless. He looked at her. What other concerns do you have? Why don't you just say it all at once? I'll settle it for you. Baya, don't think of hiding like a porcupine. This time, I won't let you back down. We haven't known each other for long. It's not appropriate to be so impulsive. Baya stood up. Gu Lingqing held Baya's arm. His gaze sharpened. Because he pulled on the wound, it split open and blood stained the gauze. You've known Su Jiran for a long time. You've been married for 3 years. Are you suitable for him? Gu Lingqing said unhappily. I've been married to him for 3 years and I still don't know who he is, let alone you. I'm not a woman who just wants to play around. I want a normal life, a husband who loves me, an adorable child, and a husband who doesn't need to be too powerful. He just needs to take care of the family. This is my thirst. Hope, Baiya said emotionally. Can't I give you the life you want? At least I can use my abilities to create a blue sky for you. No matter what happens outside, as long as I'm not dead, I can protect you. Gu Lingqing was annoyed. At least wait until after my divorce. What is this now? I'm Mrs. Su, not Mrs. Gu. I can't get over this, Baiya said impulsively. Then it's a deal. After the divorce, we'll get married, Gu Lingqing let go of her hand and said domineeringly. Baiya, she paused. That wasn't what she meant. She just didn't want him to force her. She was a little breathless. When he said this, Baiya knew that he said something wrong. Why do you have to be with me? I know myself, Baiya said softly. He didn't know why he had to be with her. However, 3 years ago, when he slept with her, he kept her in his heart. Knowing that she wasn't living a good life, he couldn't let her go. He wanted to give her a good life and make up for the mistake 3 years ago. Even if he had to sacrifice his entire life, he wanted to give her happiness with his body. Gu Lingqing glanced at his arm. Let's not talk about this anymore. Help me bandage it again. Baiya saw that he was bleeding again. Thinking about it, there was still a month before her divorce. There were still many variables that could happen. It was a little groundless for her to worry about the future now. Anyway, he wouldn't force her now. They could talk about the future in the future. Baiya untied the gauze on Gu Lingqing's arm and helped him wash it again. She applied some medicine and bandaged it. You have to take the anti-inflammatory medicine. If you don't have a fever tomorrow, you don't have to take it if you have a scar. Drink more water, Baiya instructed. Gu Lingqing smiled and stood up. What are you smiling about? Baiya looked at him, puzzled. I think it's good to listen to you nagging like this. Let's go, it's very late now. We still have to wake up early tomorrow morning. Okay, I'll drive. Baiya carried the medicine and walked in front. The roads in the countryside were very deserted. At this time, there were no cars or pedestrians. Baiya drove quietly. Gu Lingqing looked at her. What would have happened if she hadn't met him 3 years ago? Would Su Jiran treat her well? Baiya's phone rang. She saw that it was Lu Shuang's call and picked it up. What's wrong, Shuangniu? Baiya asked, puzzled. Xiao Bai, I have something to tell you. Lu Shuang's voice was very low. I'm following Su Jiran and Xing Jinyan. They're doing that kind of thing in the wilderness. Waha, I'll record it later. If Su Jiran doesn't get a divorce in a month, you'll have evidence to sue him. That shameless bastard. How could Xing Jinyan be so despicable? Be careful alone. It's very late now, Baiya said worriedly. What are you afraid of? Shen Yan is here too. He's the crown prince, who would dare to provoke him? It's fine, I'll talk to you later. They seem to be done for. Xing Jinyan is almost out of breath from all the shouting. I'll record it first, Lu Shuang said and hung up. Baiya gripped her phone tightly. This time, she should be able to divorce Su Jiran. Are you hungry? Gu Lingqing asked. She didn't eat much during dinner due to her awkwardness. After all that, when Gu Lingqing asked, she realized that she was really hungry. At this time, all the restaurants are closed and the convenience stores are closed. I have instant noodles in my room. Let's make instant noodles when we get back, Baya suggested. Okay, Gu Lingqing replied. They were not far from the hospital, so they arrived in no time. Baya just stopped the car. Gu Lingqing turned her face and his lips landed on hers. Baya was shocked. Before she could react, he let go of her. Baya, you're so silly. Su Jiran is not worthy of your love, Gu Lingqing said meaningfully. He'll grow up eventually. Baya sighed. You're tuning into the Journey of the Soul YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.